wide right with Ladero onto his favored left foot. Finds Jack McGlynn centrally, just hit the post moments ago. No whistle as Musa got a tug of the jersey. We play on, ball in behind for Julio. Foot race here. Anderson, Julio, past Tarbell, empty net. Anderson, Julio!
The road remains kind to FC Dallas as they remain undefeated after a gritty draw against Minnesota United last weekend. Things don't get any easier tonight, however, as the second of a three-match road trip sees Dallas heading to Inter Miami to face Lionel Messi and company. Or will they? The Herons are undefeated in MLS play this season, but are coming off a loss to Vancouver in Champions Cup play. Dallas looks to hand undefeated Miami their first loss of 2025 in league play, as the Toros make their only visit to Chase Stadium of 2025. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas Pregame Show, presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of the match this evening. Our commentary team for the match, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down tonight's opening contest. Speaking of Steve Davis, we bring him in for a look at today's major headlines. Steve, happy Sunday soccer to you, friend.
Love me some Sunday soccer.
It's a little bit different, isn't it? I think it's one of our only Sunday games we'll have this year. It's just a little bit of a different vibe.
Well,
tonight.
Usually I enjoy sitting and watching Sunday soccer, but today, happy to be part of it, Sam.
Well, you're going to be watching a little bit, but what you're not going to be watching is Lionel Messi, as we talked about a little bit in the midweek with the FC Dallas agenda, as we've kind of speculated after Thursday's game against Vancouver in Vancouver. No Lionel Messi, no Luis Suarez. They are both not in the 11, not even in the 20, after they didn't practice yesterday in Miami. And I don't want to say that changes everything, but it changes almost everything, doesn't it?
Well, no Jordi Alba, one of the best attacking left backs in the league either. Yeah, it changes a lot. It changes the mindset a little bit. Excuse me, for FC Dallas. It changes a little bit of approach because you're not dealing with Suarez, not dealing with Leo Messi. Yeah, I got to tell you though, I mean, it's I think that. The chance to play against probably, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinions, the best player in the history of the game. It's a special moment for players, and I think they look forward to it in a lot of ways. Competitively, the opportunity is there, but I think, for the players and for people watching at home, another chance to get to see Messi against their team. It's a little unfortunate, but you can blame Vancouver. We're going to talk about why later.
Yeah, we sure will. And, coming into this one before we get the lineup, we mentioned that Inter Miami undefeated in MLS play this year, the only team left. But Dallas is pretty solid, too, on the road specifically. They're now 6 games undefeated to start the season. They're tied for the best in franchise history. You have to go back to 1999, the Dallas Burn, for another time. And in recent history, it's 2017 with 4 games. This is a team that, very quietly and very differently than we expected, is on the verge of making franchise history on the road.
Yeah, how about that? 1999, by the way, that was Jason Christ's MVP season, so, a little bit of a portent of good things. Not saying anybody in this team is necessarily going to get MVP, but good things. Anyway, Sam, the thing is, if you're going to win on the road, the formula starts with being tight and right in the back. Just limit chances, limit goals, which this team FC Dallas team is doing right now, and you got a chance to dig up some results on the road. They got to score more goals, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Right now, they've got Martin Paz, top 10 goalkeeper in the league, and 4 guys on the back line playing really, really well, every one of them. So that keeps you in the games, especially on the road.
Well, the guys tonight charged with trying to make history. Martin Paz in net for Dallas. Nolan Norris, Osazi, Urgidd, Sebastian Ibiaga, and Shaq Moore. Ramiro, Sho, Kaique, and Lucho Acosta alongside Logan Farrington and Anderson Julio. And you're right, Steve, defense is critical for this Dallas team. 7 of their 9 games so far, 1 goal or less. Of course, the Colorado game on the road and the Chicago game here, the only outliers there. But now that we're about a third of the way through the season, is it fair to say that Dallas is now a defensive first team, or is that just a consequence of not scoring enough goals?
Yeah, sometime between that, Sam. I don't know if I'm ready to slap the bumper sticker on the car just yet that says defense first. What happens, though, is they're just a team that defends well right now, right? 1 goal in the last 4 goals in the last 6 games.
Yes.
That's going to keep you in a lot of games, and a lot of that is Osazi Urgidd. I think right now, and people nationally are starting to agree, maybe the best defender in Major League Soccer right now, but the guys around him playing very well too. So I don't know that it's so much about I I don't know so much about defense first. It's just that defending has come together more quickly than the offense, the attack. Eric Quill still wants to score goals. He wants to be an attacking team. He wants to play crowd-pleasing soccer. We know that. He wants to increase the volume of chances, the volume of shots, all of that. They just haven't been able. They want to cook up more offense. They just haven't found the right recipe yet, whereas they found the right recipe to cook up the defense.
Well, a decent recipe is Lucho Acosta back in the lineup after he sat out for about 60 minutes last week. And, we're starting to see, even with Pedrinho out, a little bit of consistency. The midfield is starting to really kind of get some more time together. Even Figert and Julio are working into this new formation. And, this is not the finished product yet, as you just mentioned. But I think that consistency of formation, the consistency of play patterns, it's got to lead to some goals and some better play at some point, doesn't it?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I know on the notes as we were talking about it before the broadcast, he said sort of return to normalcy, return to consistency. But the thing is, as good as the offense has been, 1 goal in 3 games scored. That ain't going to cut it. So Sam, you don't want to be consistent, with 1 goal in 3 games. So they're still tinkering, they're still figuring out, what's going to happen behind Lucho Acosta. What's the best balance back there between Ramiro and Shaw and Patrickson, and Legette's going to come back, and Paxton Pomykal. How about that? Paxton Pomykal making the trip. So they're still sorting all of that out, and it's going to take another minute. And don't forget, by the way, as far as consistency, they're not going to be able to be consistent in May because right now they got 6 games scheduled. Very easily could turn into 7, depending on what happens with that round of 32 Open Cup date. Could turn into a round of 16 Open Cup date. That could be 7 games in May. That's a lot, and you're going to have to rotate in there. So the consistency is going to have to just sort of develop in its own way, but it's normalcy, consistency. You're not going to see a lot of it for the time being.
Well, and obviously as we look at Miami a little bit further, obviously the big story is no Messi, no Suarez, no Alba. This is a team of backups. They have rotated quite heavily, but it's not that they're not a good team. They're still undefeated. They've still got some good players, but those players did have to go all the way to Vancouver, lose a game at BC Place, fly all the way home. That's affected their training. That's affected their legs just in general. When we talk about these things, I think we talk about a lot in the abstract, but what could it actually mean for Dallas tonight to face a team that's had to do all this and is without that much talent?
Well, first of all, the very obvious place to start is that it means they're facing a team of backups tonight. 10 changes in the Miami lineup, and that quartet of players from Barcelona, as you said a while ago, Messi and friends, none of them are starting. Busquets is the only one that might come in. I'd be a little surprised. And the thing is, Vancouver did Dallas a big favor. As we're sitting here doing this, we're on the screen is Vancouver with a rotated lineup. They're so good this year. They've gone in and they're beating Minnesota in Minnesota right now. So what Vancouver's done is, you talk about the travel, Miami to Vancouver. You can't pick 2 spots, in this league further apart. Not only is the travel was that debilitating, artificial turf and all that. Vancouver's leading that series 2-0, right? So as they come back this week, Wednesday, to close out that CONCACAF Champions League series that Miami really, really wants to go forward in and win, they're in a dogfight. And so those guys, if it was if they had managed a tie in Vancouver, you might say, okay, they're gonna put Messi, they're gonna put him in the game, and Suarez in the game at some point. They might even start him. Messi likes to play. But they can't because they're in a dogfight. They've got to save those guys for Wednesday. So right now, God bless Vancouver and for giving Dallas a chance to stay undefeated, a better chance. I'm sorry to say, I should have said a better chance to stay undefeated on the road.
And literally, while Steve was monologuing, Vancouver scored again. Mm-hmm. So they've already they're up 2-0 in the 67th minute. Pedro Vite and Sebastian Berhalter, because that team just does not. It's all gas, no brakes for the Caps right now. And it's always all gas, no brakes for Steve Davis whenever we bring him in. And of course, we will hear from him on the broadcast tonight in our 3rd segment when we dive deeper into this matchup. Steve, we'll talk to you in just a little while.
Appreciate you, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas Pregame Show, we'll have the sounds of this week's matchup. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Logan Farrington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date. Location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, our commentary team for tonight's match, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me. We'll break down the lineups, the tactics, everything you need to know ahead of tonight's interconference showdown. But while we have a moment, I want to tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, which is where everything FC Dallas Radio happens. Of course, you'll find there our signature post-game show, which goes live, win, lose, or draw after every match. We break down everything you need in around 30 minutes or less, sometimes even closer to 20 minutes, depending on how the game goes. But you'll get everything you need to know, highlights, stats, analysis, big thoughts, big takeaways, tactical breakdowns, everything you need on the post-game show, and it goes live on the network after every game, and then you can catch it on the post-game podcast shortly after. But just this year, we've introduced the FC Dallas Agenda, and it's the big audio piece for any FC Dallas fan. We take big takeaways from matches, match previews, newsmaker interviews. We've had Eric Quill, Andre Zanata, Leo Baldo. We even had just this week Soccer-Wise's David Goss was on. He talked about Lionel Messi. He talked about how Dallas is doing, even giving our own Osazi Urgidd a little bit more love as the Osazi Urgidd agenda continues here in Frisco. It's a great podcast. You get everything you need for the week in under an hour. So what you got to do to get all these great shows, go to your podcast provider of choice, Spotify, Apple, doesn't matter. Type in FC Dallas Radio Network and then hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great content. But now let's get you to the sound of this week's match, and they feature FC Dallas head coach Eric Quill and Dallas's left back, Nolan Norris.
I mean, you have to identify all of their weaponry and what their, any trends that they try to play with, and we've seen it, and most teams have seen it, but they execute it at a high level. So it's it's got to be heightened awareness for 95 plus minutes. You can't get ball fixated. You got to always understand, head on a swivel where guys are at, making sure we're condensed and compact. And in our 1v1 moments with guys like Messi and Suarez, we've got to have these guys got to study in fine detail their movements and have a game plan because their moments are going to be there to be 1v1. And we've got to do a good job collectively in closing down passing lanes centrally where they can really cut you apart. So it's a tough task, tough ask, but one that these guys are up for. We've been playing really well defensively, and I think we have the weaponry to hurt them when we win it. So we're going there to win the game. We're not, like I said, I'm never going there to exist in a game, and there's purpose to us going there for 3 points. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's a team, right? It's a roster that, you want to be able to trust and depend on, and they want opportunity and deserved opportunity that they earn on the training field. So it's nice that when you have contributions from 4 new starters and they play as well as they did, to feel like you have a well-balanced group that you can do a lot of different things with. And so I really like where we're trending as a group and the work they're putting in. I trust them all that if their number's called, they're going to come and deliver a performance. And we're there to win. We're not there to grab a point. We're not there to just, we're trying to win every game we play. And that's what I want these guys. And they're starting to act that way. They're starting to behave that way, for long spells of the game and entireties. And so that's all I can ask for, is them to have a belief that they're, we're going to win we're going there to win the game. And there's no plan to just, to just be there and celebrate a point. We want to be celebrating 3. We want to be climbing the standings. We have purpose. We have goals that we want to achieve. And it doesn't stop just because of the opponent of Miami. Our goals are still the same. So that's what these guys are willing to do, and they've shown this on the road, and that's what I'm expecting of them now, so that they've shown what they're capable of, and we just keep growing from there.
Look, I think we need to just keep working the way we're working as a team collectively. I think defensively we've been really solid. We need to focus on that aspect even more than normal, especially with the players they have. But offensively, I think we can cause them problems. So that's what we're working hard in the week to do. Different patterns of play on how to attack the spaces that they leave. So really tough challenge, but really good opportunity and to go there and try to beat the only unbeaten team. Yeah, I'm really, really excited. He's the best to ever do it, and so it's a dream come true to be on the field with him. But at the same time, I have a job to do, and it's to help my team win. And so I'm there to perform for the team and do my job. So at the end of the day, it's I guess off the field, it's a big thing. You're playing against him, but for me, it's another game. It's another game, and in a tough place to play. But I'm really excited and looking forward to it. So it will be special for sure. Yeah, it's quite tricky to really put a finger on it. I think the difference between home and away results, I think we're putting in the same amount of work, but I think for us, we don't see a difference whether it's home or away. We have the same belief in ourselves, in our team, in our game plan, and we've been able to execute. So I think any challenge we've been presented with, we've just been really successful on the road, and hopefully we can continue that.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to help break down tonight's lineups and tactics. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Leggett, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We've got about 20 minutes from kickoff at Chase Stadium, so let's go ahead and get you tonight's starting lineups, which are brought to you by Advocare. We'll start first with the home side, Inter Miami, and first-year coach Javier Mascherano. It's straight calendar in net for the Herons tonight. David Martinez, Maximiliano Falcon, Gonzalo Lujan, Tomas Aviles, and Ian Frey across the back line. Leo Alfonso, Yannick Bright, Benjamin Kromaski, and Fafa Pico, noted FC Dallas killer in the midfield, supporting Alan Obando up top for Miami. Now let's get you the starting lineup tonight for FC Dallas and first-year head coach Eric Quill.
Marta Paz, goalkeeper, University of Amsterdam.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Sebastian Ibiaga, center back, Duke University.
Osazi Urgidd, center back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
I'm Shaw, midfield from Angola.
Lucho Acosta, midfielder, I'm from Argentina.
Anderson Julio, soy delantero y soy de Quito, Ecuador.
Logan Farrington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
And the subs tonight for Dallas: Lados Abubakar, Patrickson, Siki and Sabaling, Pedrinho, Alvaro Augusto, Michael Colodi, Tarek Scott, Diego Garcia, and Bernard Camungo. And now we bring in the voices of tonight's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, as Steve and I talked about in the first segment, all week we were wondering what's Messi status, what's Suarez going to do, especially after that, that very brutal game up there in Vancouver. Our answer is we don't have to worry about it. No Messi, no Suarez, no Alba. The only Barcelona and friends player is Sergio Busquets, and he's on the bench tonight. That radically changes what Dallas is looking at when they look across at the Herons tonight.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to think about from the Dallas players' perspective, because this is one that's been circled on the calendar since the schedule dropped. Everybody wants to play Miami. Everybody wants to play Messi. Obviously, 6 out of 11 starters from 2023 when Dallas played Messi in Leagues Cup are still here, but there's plenty of guys that have never got a chance to play against him, and so that's a big moment that now is not on the table, and they've got to get themselves emotionally up for the game. After that letdown of seeing the lineups drop, they have to stay focused, stay professional, and know that there's a huge chance for 3 points on the road today.
I think it's a really good point you brought up, because I think if you see this lineup on Wednesday, you say, okay, you still got to go get some points. You still got to be professionals about it, and I think it's fine. But you're right. Getting that news late, I think you have to really shift your mentality a little bit and just press some different motivational buttons. And we'll see if they can do it.
And I want to give credit to Eric Quill when I talked to him yesterday about, hey, how do you plan against Messi versus with him? Quill made the point, we're not really worried about that part. We're just worried about going in and playing professionally regardless of who's out there. We're there to get points. We're there to play our game. And I think that's, obviously he'll have to change his pregame speech a little bit, but it's kind of hard to downshift there instead of upshift. And
yeah, look, it's easy to say that stuff, but, players out there, I said a while ago, these are special moments, and I think it's legitimate to worry about whether they can shift their mentality a little bit.
Well, one guy I'm not worried about in any way is Osazi Urgidd, who this has basically become the Osazi Urgidd testimonial hour whenever we talk about him on pre and post game. Rightfully so, because he's been fantastic. And we had David Goss on the FC Dallas agenda this week. He was mentioning how much he's gone. I mean, Steve, the cult of Osazi is slowly growing with time here, is it not?
It would have grown a lot faster, but FC Dallas, because they were a little down last year, they didn't make the playoffs. Not as many people are paying attention to FC Dallas right now. It would have grown faster, but the word is getting out there. I think today it's a little unfortunate for Urgidd, because everybody watches Miami. If you're an MLS fan, you watch Miami. Apple does a lot of their marketing around him. And today, people are going to see the lineup, and a few people might tune out. But nationally, there are some voices out there that are starting to sort of catch on a little bit. I saw Tyler Terrans, one of the broadcasters for Apple this week. He tweeted. He said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Osazi Urgidd is the best defender in Major League Soccer right now, and it's not even close. So Danny Higginbotham is going to watch him today. He's probably my favorite Apple broadcast analyst, and he was a defender in his day. He's going to get to see Urgidd. So the gospel is getting out there. It's just it's going to get out there just a little bit slower today, because he's not going to get to play against Messi and Suarez.
And one guy that could probably use a game on his quality is Lucho Acosta. Ryan, he's back in the starting lineup after getting a substitute run last week in the draw against Minnesota. And I want to ask you two things. One, how do you think, let's start here, his style works against a Miami team that admittedly today looks like they're going to be bunkering down based on how they're going to line up?
Yeah, we're looking at the Miami lineup, and just kind of the nature of the beast is they don't really have many attacking reserve players. I mean, they've shipped off a couple of them. Robert Taylor's now in Austin. Julian Gressel's gone. And in the offseason, they lost others like Leo Campana. So their reserves are essentially a bunch of center backs, and that's what we're going to see today. It'll be interesting to see if Aviles is playing center back or if he's playing in the midfield. But I think regardless, this team for Miami, they have a lot of legs because they built the roster around the idea of you're going to have 3 to 4 players in there that are 35 plus in the former Barcelona players, and so you need young players with a lot of mobility. And so when you bring all those players into the lineup at once, this is a young, energetic team with Fafa Picault up front that we know is a Dallas killer. So I think Lucho Acosta is going to have some savvy, some experience on these guys that he's matched up against in midfield. I mean, Yannick Bright, 23, Aviles, 21, Benja Kremoski 20. So obviously these are young players that have got the experience of playing with Messi in training, and I think the closest thing in MLS to Messi that's not named Messi and doesn't play in Inter Miami is Lucho Acosta. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see how this matches up, even though it's maybe not the matchup that was built coming into the weekend.
I don't think it changes the way they play a lot, honestly. Do they do it as well as with Messi and Suarez in there and Jordi Alba? No. But I'm telling you, this team, they want to. They don't press, but they counter press a lot. And I think Mascherano is going to demand that of them. And just like Ryan just said, Kremoski's a good player. Yannick Bright, I like him a lot. We just don't see him as much. So there's still some good players in there. Not as many. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this thing, but I don't see them changing the way they play. They're still going to play a high line when they can. There's still going to be space to run in behind.
So the second half of the Lucho equation, and Steve, I'll throw this to you. Obviously, this team on offense a little bit goes how Lucho goes. When he plays well, the offense goes well. We've seen over the last couple games, maybe Lucho's not having his best outings, especially here in Dallas. Does Lucho need a good game to kind of reignite the fires within him and kind of propel him forward and get him back on track?
The short answer is yes. He needs to be a little bit sharper. Again, though, the team around him, what he had at Cincinnati, he knew who to trust, and he knew what they were going to do, and there's just been a lot of flux around him, so it's not all his fault, but yeah, 2 weeks ago in the start, didn't play well. I didn't think he played particularly well when he came off the bench last week, although he still manages to almost win the game with a header off the bar. So, yeah, short answer is yes, I think he needs to play a little better, and, by the way, he might be the one that the motivation might have dipped a little bit because he doesn't get to play against fellow Argentine Leo Messi.
Yeah, although last time that Miami lost in the regular season, it was against Lucho Acosta and FC Cincinnati. It was 6-1 at TQL Stadium, and Lucho had a goal and an assist. So he's been through this exact situation before. But I was watching Cincinnati this week, and I think that's an interesting point you made, Steve, because his running mate there was Luca Oriano, the Argentinian sort of winger, fullback, striker. He played all over the field, but wherever he played, he was connecting with Lucho Acosta. Now, Lucho doesn't have Oriano to bounce the ball off of, and Oriano doesn't have Lucho Acosta to set him up, and Oriano's not looking like the same player, and they gave him a big contract in the offseason to keep him there, so it's interesting to see maybe both of those players not living up to the standard that they were at when they were playing together. Now, who's going to be Oriano here on the Dallas rosters? Again, obviously, we saw the connection with Musa, not playing today because of injury, but I think Anderson Julio has a big opportunity tonight against a team that plays a high line to connect with Lucho, to make those runs in behind. If they can get on the same page, it could be dangerous for Dallas.
Maybe in a couple of weeks. I'm whispering this. It could be Paxton Pomykal.
It could.
Ooh, that's an interesting proposition, although Ryan has given me the idea that maybe something happens in July that could be just as much fun involving reuniting those two.
I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that.
And I'm not talking Acosta back to Cincinnati, but that's a fantasy booking. Well, before we get to tonight's keys, let's look a little bit more at who Miami is going to bring out. And obviously, when we talk about Dallas killers, we talk about Daniel Mbappe Shallowy a few weeks ago. But Fafa Pico is no slouch. 4 goals in 4 games against FC Dallas. They've also got Tlaxco Segovia, who has 3 goals this year. He's tied with the team lead. He's on the bench. He can come on late. You've also got Tadeo Allende, who's got 2 goals. Those are 2 of the leading scorers that aren't named Lionel Messi. So, obviously, there's not a lot of attacking depth on this particular squad, but it's not like they're going to be toothless coming into this one, Steve.
Just watch Fafa at the back post. Fafa, his ability to find headers at the back post is, I want to say legendary. Maybe I'm going a little bit too far there, but it's elite. So he's the guy. Ben Kremoski running the middle. I think he's going to be a problem to deal with, and so is Yannick Bright. So again, good players out there.
Well, let's get you to tonight's keys to the game. Those are brought to you, as they always are, by Toyota. And for those, I throw it right back to Steve.
Number one, look, I know this is really simple what I'm about to say, but they got to get a goal. Haven't scored in 2 matches. They're not really getting a good volume of shots. They got by with the scoreless draw last week. Maybe they can again tonight. I don't know because of all these missing players. But if they can find a goal, it's going to help a lot. If they can find one off a set piece, Sam. They don't have a set piece goal this year. That would help a lot. Number 2 is sort of related. It's finding the runs because FC Dallas actually did produce a good volume of runs in behind the Minnesota back line last week. They didn't connect with those runs. So by the numbers Eric Quill told us, 59 runs in behind, created connections 10 times. So can they increase their batting percentage there, so to speak? And I still think Miami will be aggressive against the ball in moments, and so they will leave space in behind. So connect those runs in behind. And then number 3 is, we just talked about it, a better Lucho. Everyone's still figuring it out. I get it. So is he. But he just hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, so they need him to be sharp. They need him to be a big influence in the match in a positive way. And those are your keys, presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve. It's a big night for FC Dallas. Even though there's no Messi, there's no Suarez, they can make franchise history by extending their undefeated streak on the road to start the season to 7 games, bettering their streak of 6 in 1999. But that's going to do it for the pregame show this evening. When we return, Ryan and Steve will finish getting you ready for tonight's matchup. It's FC Dallas. It's Inter Miami in South Florida. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Maarten Paas, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
We welcome you to Chase Stadium, where FC Dallas will face the Herons of Inter Miami today in a Sunday matinee, the middle game of a 3-game road stretch for Eric Quill and co. And while this one has been circled in the calendar since the schedule dropped for obvious reasons, schedule congestion for the home side means no Messi, no Suarez, no Jordi Alba tonight. Now the onus shifts to Dallas as they look to continue their strong road form and snap a 19-game unbeaten run in regular season play for Inter Miami. That is a league record. On perhaps the biggest stage in all of Major League Soccer over the last 2 years, it's over to Lucho Acosta, the Argentine number 10, the last man to win the MLS MVP, not named Lionel Messi, as he looks to shine today with eyes from across the league on Eric Quill's side. Acosta starred in Miami's last loss. That was back in July 6, 2024. He had a goal and an assist in a 6-1 win for FC Cincinnati. He's looking to conjure some of that same magic up today for FC Dallas. I'm Ryan Figert, joined today, as always, by Steve Davis. And Steve, this was billed as a matchup between the last two MLS MVPs, but it seems Messi has ducked the Osazi Urgidd test. So the obvious question is, how does that shift things for FC Dallas?
I like how you put that, duck the Osazi test. I don't think it changes too much for FC Dallas other than they don't have to deal with Messi and Suarez and Jordi Alba as well. So maybe little tactical tweaks, but essentially, Ryan, Dallas still has to figure things out on offense. So doesn't change anything there. Doesn't change the fact that they still got to be tight and right in the back, which they have been lately. So I don't see that it changes a lot other than just some little individual tweaks with roles.
Yeah, some numbers to back that up. 6 straight games for FC Dallas when they've conceded 0 or 1 goals, but they've only scored 5 in their last 7. That's a 210-minute scoreless streak as they've had a couple of shutouts in a row against them. But when we talk FC Dallas and Inter Miami, we have to throw it back to 2023. That's the last time these two met in official competition. And arguably, even though FC Dallas didn't advance after the penalty shootout, it was one of the best, most exciting nights in club history. Steve, what is your lasting memory of when Messi Mania came to Toyota Stadium?
I think just the overall atmosphere of it, how excited everybody was, friends calling me that, sports fans, but maybe not FC Dallas fans necessarily, but I think they made some that night, and that's what those kind of nights are about, adding to the temperature of it all, adding to the excitement of it all, and that's what I remember, just how excited, absolutely packed stadium, and how excited everybody was about that moment.
Yeah, and that one going down officially as a draw, 4-4, means that Dallas is actually undefeated all time in official competitions against Inter Miami. This is the 5th official meeting with the Herons. They've got a couple of wins and a couple of draws all time. Team's in the tunnel right now. Maarten Paas going to lead the crew out there with the armband on, and he is decked out in all green. Dallas wearing their red and blue, and Inter Miami in the all pink kits today, as the fans gathered maybe to see Messi, but they gathered to watch Inter Miami and FC Dallas. And as the national anthem is on the way, we will step aside and take a quick break. Kickoff is on the other side of this break. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Ibiaga. Tonight's FC Dallas match is up next, right here on the FC Dallas app.
We're just a few minutes away from kickoff from Chase Stadium. FC Dallas on the road at Inter Miami for their third matchup against the Eastern Conference this season, looking for their first win against the opposite conference. And Steve, coming into this one, obviously we've talked about Messi, we've talked about no Messi now. On the FC Dallas side, we've talked about Lucho. Who else needs to step up for Dallas to maybe just have a little bit more control? Because it seems like the road games, the back line has been really solid. But going forward, that's where the issues have been.
Yeah, I would say one person is Logan Farrington. I'm not really sure I would say step up because he's a backup, and I thought he did okay last week. We know what Logan does. He does Logan things. He did them well. But we heard Eric Quill talk about how they just need Logan to be a little bit more central, to be a little bit more patient in the way where he receives the ball and then is able to connect with Lucho and behind him. So if he could just tweak it a little bit, I think that'll help FC Dallas.
And a couple numbers for you as we wait for kickoff from Chase Stadium. Dallas yet to score in the opening 30 minutes of a game this season, which is interesting because I think over the past couple weeks they've actually started pretty strongly in games. They haven't come off in terms of getting a goal yet, but then adding to that, they're actually unbeaten in the last 23 matches when leading at halftime. So, Steve, I think paramount importance today, can they score first?
So they have started pretty fast in some games this year, but they haven't been able to convert. So it's great, to come out with that energy and that fight, that drive, and that desire. But can you turn it into a goal? And that's what they have to do.
And looking in midfield, it's the same midfield three, maybe a different shape with Lucho in there instead of Pedrinho, who started last week against Minnesota. What did that group show you last week, and where do you think the improvement can still be in midfield for Dallas?
I tell you what, I'm becoming a real Ramiro fan. I think as he sits back there, he showed me a lot in the last couple of weeks. Before we was playing in the pivot, as he got forward, honestly, his entry balls in the final third weren't that great. He doesn't have enough speed to be rangy and to get back. But when he sits in there a little bit closer to connected to that back line, he can play a line-breaking pass. He can every now and then make a run forward, just every now and then, though. He directs in there. So I think that he really showed me something, and I think Kaike, his performances just keep getting a little bit more mature.
And, of course, Dallas with a first-year head coach in Eric Quill. But on the Inter Miami side, they've got a first-year head coach as well with even less experience in the professional game. That's Javier Mascherano. Obviously, plenty of experience as a player. But what have you seen from him so far as a coach? Because I think the style of play has been very different from Miami than what we saw last year.
Yeah, they're not wanting the ball quite as much this year. By the way, it wouldn't have surprised me to see Mascherano in the lineup today because I think he might have actually been able to help this lineup. He doesn't look that old. He still looks good. I think that one of the things I'm seeing is they're counter-pressing just like they were very hard. They're really good at it. They're maybe not quite Seattle in terms of their effective counter-press, but they can do it. And so just some smaller tweaks like that.
Mascherano coming to this one had 964 total games as a teammate of one of the former Barcelona foursome, and that's Suarez, Messi, Alba, and Busquets. But he's not going to be able to rely on any of those today. Maybe Busquets off the bench if need be, but he's turned to a young lineup, a rotation lineup ahead of their Champions Cup semifinal second leg on Wednesday against Vancouver, as we're just about set for this one. FC Dallas looking for 3 points in MLS play in Fort Lauderdale. It's Lucas Spala, the referee, with Cameron Blanchard and Nick Arunga supporting him as the two linesmen, and a familiar face in Sergi Boyko. It's going to be in between the two coaches as the fourth official back in Arlington. The VAR, Armando Villarreal.
Yeah, and Armando Villarreal's been around for a while, so they got a good one back in that sitting in front of the screens in Arlington.
Both teams lined up. Looks like Inter Miami will move from left to right in the all-pink here in the first half, turning to some youth, turning to rotation. And Dallas looking to take this opportunity as the sun is in the far half. And it's going to be difficult to see when the ball switches into the near side, into the shadows, as it's dropped off to Martin Paz. And we are underway from Miami. Launching it out long to the far side. And it's Shaq Moore trying to get his first touch. Can't keep it. It breaks for Kermaski in the middle. And this is going to be a challenge. I think this has been a little bit of a struggle with MLS introducing different time windows, some of the shadows in different stadiums as they come into the near side, and we can't see at all that Ian Frey is the one on the ball as he runs from outside to in. His ball looking for a Bondo, picked off there by Logan Farrington.
That does answer one question, because Ian Frey is a center back, and we wondered if he would actually be playing on the right side, but he is.
They've got plenty of center backs in the lineup today in the nature of their rotation, including Aviles, who we are not sure yet if he's playing as a center back or in midfield. Does look like a four-man back line for Inter Miami, as it has been all season. Whistle there goes against Shaw for a foul in midfield. Shaw making his second start of the season.
And I thought he was okay in his first start. Maybe not great, but I think for his first start, okay is okay.
Ball down the line. Urgidd with his first action, not even going to need a touch on the ball. Just shields it away from Afonso and over the line for a goal kick. See that a few times a game now.
I was just about to say that. That's exactly what I was going to say. It looked like we saw that a few times in Atlanta, and he just eats those up.
Oh, we get a look right now at Lionel Messi, who's in the building, not dressed today, in anticipation of that matchup, as they're down 2-0 against the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are just unbeatable at the moment.
You see here that Miami does want to press the goal kicks, so that answers one question. I don't think I didn't expect him to just sit back a lot.
Ball back to Urgidd, and he'll go with diagonal ball out to the far side. Shaq Moore going to try and bring it down. A little bit of a heavy touch back towards the Dallas side. In the midfield for Ramiro. Sliding pass finds Julio. Julio unable to keep it. Fafa Picault with his first touch on the far side. Fafa Picault with more goals against Houston than Dallas, but that's it. Dallas 4 goals and an assist, including a goal and an assist last year as a member of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Ball in midfield. Kaique and Ramiro battling for it. Ramiro hooks it forward. And now the ball ahead for Julio. Julio skips past one, then runs into David Martinez, the Paraguayan international, who commits a foul. Chance maybe for Dallas to lift this one in the box. Haven't seen Lucho Acosta on the ball yet, 3 minutes in. But here's Farrington as they go short. Now out to Lucho, playing off the left today. In the shadows on the near side. Edge of the 18. Overlapping run from Shaw. Lucho Acosta leaving that one too close to Lujan. But the clearance breaks for Nolan Norris. In the midfield, Kaique. Back to Lucho up the left side. Loses out there to Ian Frey, the homegrown for Miami. Dallas doing well to keep pressure on, high up the field, and win a free kick. Shaw dumped to the turf there by Leo Afonso.
So all that started, Ryan, with that little higher positioning that Eric Quill talked about, wanting Logan Farrington to adopt and take up. So it just pushes that line back a little bit more, gives Lucho a little bit more operating space underneath, and we're already seeing him get on the ball in some good spots.
And it will be Lucho Acosta standing over the free kick from the near side. This one not quite the type to set up like a corner kick. Miami's set up their line 12 yards from goal at the penalty spot.
Everybody's got to look right into the sun on this one, so keep your eye on that.
Urgidd hit the crossbar on a corner kick. He's the target for Dallas here as Acosta swings it into the area towards Urgidd, flicks off a Miami head, and it's behind for a corner.
Pretty good delivery there from Acosta.
And it's going to be a corner from the far side. Drake Callender in net for Miami, just his second appearance of the season. after being the starter for 2024 in the Keeper of the Year and Leagues Cup when they won it back in 2023. It's the 38-year-old friend of Lionel Messi, Oscar Ustari, who's taken his place this year.
And I think he's been pretty good.
Lucho Acosta swinging the corner in from the far side over everybody's head in Dallas red and blue. It bounces around the edge of the 18. Ibiaga, nice ball out to Acosta on the far side. Inside the box, Acosta off the left foot, looking to go to the back post, but Callender able to make the catch.
He didn't miss by much, though. He had Callender scrambling a little bit there. Pulled that ball back to his left foot, right around the corner of the penalty area on the right side. Just tried to drop it in over him. Callender's a pretty big cat and pretty agile, too.
Acosta didn't see the ball in the opening 3 minutes, but it's been involved in the last 2 pretty heavily here. That's good news for Dallas. It's Miami building up, looking for a ball in behind. Kremasky picks up the second ball here just outside the center circle, spreads it to the near side for Ian Frey. Edge of the 18, looking to get turned is Afonso. He's chased by Show towards the corner flag. And Miami going to retreat here. Kremasky, the young homegrown, the U.S. international. He's played in the U20s as well alongside Nolan Norris, the FC Dallas left back. Those two have been the ones to wear the armband for that group as they're approaching the U20 World Cup in the fall. And big responsibility for Kremasky today. Trying to run the show in the middle. He was amongst the scorers in that 4-4 draw in Leagues Cup and scored the winning penalty as well as an 18-year-old at that point. Here's Urgidd, again able to shield it out and behind for a goal kick.
Kremasky scored a great diving header a couple of weeks ago for them. So he's a good young player.
In good form as well. Got the winning goal in Cleveland against the Crew last week. That was the last MLS match for Miami. Not in the best form if you include all competitions, 2-2-2 in their last 6. They did lose in the first leg against LAFC in Champions Cup, but then advanced, and they currently find themselves down after leg 1 against Vancouver. Still on a long unbeaten streak in MLS regular season play. It seems like Messi, no Messi, they've been able to get it done over the last 18 months.
And that's what I was saying earlier about Vancouver doing Dallas a big favor, because if you look at the math on that, as they play Wednesday, if Vancouver scores a goal, Miami has to get 4, and that's a tall order even for the Suarez, Messi, Alba, Busquets crew.
Header back from Falcone all the way to Callender as Julio is going to chase it and make sure it got back in time. Miami with possession in their own half here. Gonzalo Lujan, one of the numerous new additions in the offseason, slotting in at center back today. Nice flicked header there from Ramiro, finds Lucho. Nice exchange with Kaique and Farrington as well. Back to Farrington centrally, 30 yards out. He's dumped to the turf. And now a chance maybe for Abondo to get something going, but Kaique slides in and wins the ball back well for Dallas.
Farrington just cannot get a break with the officials last couple of weeks, can he?
Oh, nice flick there from Acosta. Up the left side for Show. Show, ball back in the midfield for Ramiro. Ramiro into the box for Farrington. Farrington some space to get the shot away, blocked by Falcone. Follow-up from Kaique, blocked as well. And now Shaq Moore, oh, what a goal! What a finish for Shaq Moore, his first FC Dallas goal. And he gives the visitors the lead in Fort Lauderdale 8 minutes in.
Well, Miami couldn't clear it. Ball was pinging around in there. I tell you what, though, Logan Farrington and Lucho Acosta, we just talked about it, that connection. Logan Farrington staying up a little higher because they exchanged passes there 2 or 3 times in the build-up. Farrington gets turned, can't get off a good clean shot. The ball ping-pongs around a little bit, but it bounces really nicely out on the right side. Shaq Moore arriving just in time, and he made no mistake at about, what would you say, right about 14 yards?
Yeah, really nice entry ball from Ramiro to start the whole attack, and then Shaq Moore on the volley rockets it past Callender. Great finish from the Dallas right back.
Yeah, he catches it really clean. From slightly on the right side, goes far post, and I mean, Drake Callender, that ball is by him before he even sees it, I'm telling you.
Incredible finish, and a nice leap towards the corner flag as well for Shaq Moore. Dallas now lead 9 minutes in. They've been so good on the road, looking to continue that streak and set a new franchise record, going unbeaten through 6 games to start the season for the first time.
Nice to see Shaq Moore get that goal, because I think he's been pretty good this year. beaten a couple of times at the back post early this season. Not really sure those were quite his fault. I think there was some marking confusion in there, but I think he's been really good one-on-one individually. I think he's been part of a really good back line collectively, so nice to see Shaq Moore get that goal.
Eric Quill up off the touchline right now in the black polo and the red hat, of course. As Dallas back on the ball here. Farrington combining with Acosta through the middle. And now Julio out to the goal scorer in Shaq Moore. Dallas building up here in their own half. As we've played 10 minutes from Chase Stadium, and it's the first goal in the opening 30 minutes of a game for FC Dallas this season. And for a team who's done well when they've gotten the lead, it's a big first goal. Shaq Moore, the goal scorer there, giving the ball away, but it's recovered by Ka'ike. Ka'ike maybe thought he was fouled there, but now Miami will bring it forward. Ramiro, though, well-positioned, wins it back in midfield for Dallas.
No, he was well-positioned a minute ago. Nice pass out to get Dallas out of the press from Ramiro, so Ramiro starting strong as well.
Osazi Urgidd, some time on the ball. Lifts it forward, right to the feet of Logan Farrington, just inside the attacking half. Dropped off for Ramiro. Ramiro, though, loses out in midfield. Turned over to the Herons of Inter Miami. Chipped out to the far side for David Martinez, who I don't believe is really a fullback. Haven't seen a ton of him. He's on loan from River Plate. Seems to be more of a center back profile, as Abondo is going to win a free kick here for Inter Miami. 20 yards from goal. Shaded to the far side. Ibiaga commits the foul. And while Steve, if number 10 was playing, you'd be really worried right now. But now we're more curious as to who's going to step up and take it for Miami.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be Kromaski. And, yeah, there he is. He's got the ball. So, and he can hit a free kick too. But, look, nobody can do it like Messi.
Martin Poss knows better than most after that Leagues Cup free kick from Messi that will live long in the legend.
If I'm the Dallas captain, I'm out there making the case to Lucas Spalla that Farrington's been dumped a couple of times, and okay if you set a high bar, but I don't know how much. There's a little bit of contact there with Ibiaga, but I would just be in his ear a little bit about making sure that he's calling the degree of contact both ways.
Martin Poss setting a four-man wall of Farrington, Ibiaga, Urgidd, and Shaq Moore, and it's Kromaski on the approach. Kromaski just gets under that and balloons it into the fans behind the goal.
And the fans around Chase Stadium will not miss Leo Messi any more than right there. And they're just now, the monitors are showing Messi, and I don't know, he's got a little smile on his face. I'm not sure if he's just having a fun moment with that free kick, because it wasn't a very good one.
Yeah, talking about the referee, Lucas Spalla, he's a pretty experienced referee, 81 games refereed now in Major League Soccer, 5 this season. But he is a little red card happy. I noticed that in his stats. He's just one in every 8 games or so. So discipline will be important. No one booked so far for either side. As we've played 12 minutes, and Dallas lead 1-0. Shaq Moore with the goal.
The other thing to mention about that goal, Ryan, is that Dallas hasn't scored in 2 games, so that gets them off their schneid a little bit there too. Maybe they can play with a little bit more freedom now and not worrying about that.
Yeah, came into the game with a 210-minute scoreless streak and snapped that within 10 minutes today. Julio going to put pressure on Falcone here, who's forced to go back to Callender. Falcone ends up on the turf, and the whistle goes against Anderson Julio.
Falcone, the only player from the starting lineup the other night for Inter Miami that's in the starting lineup again today.
And thankfully, amongst the struggles to see here between the shade and the sun and some players we aren't as familiar with, Falcone's got a very recognizable head of hair at left center back.
Enjoyed watching FC Dallas Academy man Chris Richards yesterday. In the FA Cup semifinal, his Crystal Palace went through, and it's always easy to pick out Chris Richards for the exact same reason.
Think David Luiz, if you've never seen Maxi Falcone.
Yep.
He's got the ball right now. Swings it over to Gonzalo Lujan. 24-year-old signed from San Lorenzo in Argentina. Here's Kromaski matched up with Nolan Norris on the near side. Urgidd across to help after Kromaski had slipped past Norris. And Kromaski still making life difficult for Nolan Norris, but he gets a couple of opportunities courtesy there of Osazi Urgidd. Possession still with Miami. Centrally, now 30 yards from goal, Kromaski. Wide right with Ian Frey. He's going to send the cross in. Deflected and an awkward one to deal with. Urgidd gets the telling touch. And then Norris cleared out there as he tried to clear that away. believe it's gone behind for a corner kick.
Nolan, Ryan, I think what's happened right now is Inter Miami, they're not used to being behind, especially at home. They've turned up the level of physicality here, and FC Dallas needs to match that.
So we get a graphic there. I mentioned Dallas has never lost to Miami. It's a pretty small sample size. This is just the 5th meeting all time in MLS play. 2 wins for Dallas and a draw. They did win at Miami in 2023. That was their only previous trip to Fort Lauderdale. That was 1-0 with a Jesus Ferreira goal before the mania of Messi had arrived. Possession with Inter Miami, switched out to Fafa Picault on the far side. Familiar face, former Dallas man, and noted Dallas killer ever since he left the club.
Hasn't had a lot to say about it today, has he?
Ian Frey there through the legs of Norris. Now some space for him to potentially get a cross away from the byline. Swung in towards Kremoski, and Paz gets a huge save. But then look who it falls to. It's Fafa Picault. And just as Steve mentioned, he hadn't had much to do. He turns it home. And a difficult moment there for Dallas. The lead now erased by Fafa Picault.
At the back post. Fafa Picault at the back post. At least it wasn't a header, but it counts as save. Nolan Norris having a little problem over there dealing with Ian Frey right now. Second time he's gotten beat over there, and that's what started the whole thing. And in the end, Dallas couldn't quite clean it up with a clearing header or a clearing ball. And as Fafa Picault just happens to be in the right space at the right time, Ian Frey getting the job done. Actually, Martin Paz makes the first save.
I'll tell you, that second save is genuinely incredible. As it cannoned off his own player, he somehow reached behind him and kept it out. But, of course, Fafa Picault right there to turn home the third opportunity.
Yeah, it really is a shame. You're right. I mean, you ask your goalkeeper to make 2 good saves, and that second one, I don't know how much you knew about it.
The ball at all.
But Fafa Picault right there just to knock it right in.
And we are all even at 1. A difficult moment, I think, particularly for Nolan Norris there, as he was beaten by Frey on the near side. Norris, who's been on a really good run of form since coming into the Dallas team. Will have to pick himself back up. He's got the ball here straight from kickoff.
Well, I think Miami has sort of identified that maybe they can pick on him a little bit over there because they're not going to Fafa Picault's side. It looks like they're going toward Nolan Norris. So Dallas just has to make the adjustment, make sure that they don't leave him on an island out there.
Ball from Norris down the line, looking for Lucho. Cleared out for a throw. Dallas up into the attacking half now. Lucho takes the throw into Farrington. Back to Lucho. Back to Farrington. And now Show tries to receive it back from Ramiro. Last touch off of Dallas and out for a throw. Well, mismatched Miami lineup, and Dallas looked like they were set to take advantage, but now pegged back in 1-1 as we play here in the 18th minute. A lot of soccer left to be played. I think there may be a few goals left in this one.
Yeah, I was going to say Dallas is doing fine, I think. Martin Paz hasn't had a whole lot to do. I mean, we're only 18 minutes in, but until he had to make 2 really good saves right there.
Urgidd, ball forward for Show. Beaten to it there by Frey, who's been the standout player for Miami so far.
But also, as I said, Miami is definitely up to the level of physicality, so Dallas has to match that.
Afonso there, able to get it to flick off of Norris and out for a throw, and then attacking position as we get a look at Luis Suarez in the building as well. Both teams without their all-star strikers. It was actually Musa who replaced Suarez, I believe, in the all-star team last year after Suarez was voted in. Musa set for a couple more weeks on the sideline as the whistle goes for a foul, that time against Frey, right next to the corner flag on the near side. And the whistle goes now for a free kick, and it's going to be taken by Kremoski. This is a chance for him to bend this ball into the box.
See if he can do a little better than the
I was going to say, he had the shooting attempt earlier. This is more of a crossing position from the right side. Swung in all the way through, and that one was destined to go behind for a goal kick, but Shaq Moore not going to take any risk there, puts it behind for a corner.
Yeah, I think Moore made the right decision because you don't quite know who's hustling in right behind you. Good delivery there. Martin Paz started to come for it, but that ball had had a good curl on it, started curling away from him, and sort of put Paz in a bad position. Another reason Moore was smart just to do the safe thing there, give up the corner kick.
I don't think we can overstate how difficult the sun and shade dynamic is here, and he was looking right into the sun. Now they're looking the other way as Kremoski takes it from the far side, swinging towards the back post. Header won there by Martinez, but not goalward. It's going to spin out, and looks like it flicked off a Dallas player. It's going to be a corner kick again, this time from the near side.
And now they do have to look into the sun, all of them. The problem is if somebody for Miami looks into the sun and gets it wrong, nothing really happens. If Dallas gets it wrong, it could turn into a goal.
Plenty of height in the Miami team with the center backs. They've added to the lineup, and Obando at 6'2" as well. This one's towards the back post. It comes off Martinez again. Second header won by Pico into the danger area, and then still bouncing around. Falcone goes down looking for a penalty. Referee waves it away, and Dallas makes the clearance. But Falcone motioning, he thinks there was a handball amongst it somewhere. And I think the sun is just really playing at Dallas, who haven't been bad on set pieces this season, but they're really struggling to get the ball cleared. And honestly, who knows if that hit chest or hand amongst 4 Dallas players there. It's really high up on the arm of Julio, if that's what they're looking at.
It does catch the underside of the arm there on Julio.
Not from a shot, but it's from Ebiaga's clearance inches away from him.
But it's also up near the sleeve area. On we go.
On we go, as that was just a mess. Sorted out pretty quickly there by Armando Villarreal.
I mean, honestly, the whole game's sort of been a mess. It hasn't really developed in any kind of shape, has it?
Nothing that I can see, although I'm struggling to see anything.
Right.
Particularly when it comes to the near side in the shade. Fake on the ball, back to Ibeaga. Switched over to Nolan Norris.
Right now, every time I look at Dallas's midfield, I see Show. I think I see, because you're right, it's tough. I see Show, Kaike, and Ramiro all very close.
Kaike there, nice ball, first time through the lines. Finds Shaq Moore, is going to drive from outside to in. Finds Lucho Acosta at the number 10 position. Tried to wait it in behind for Anderson Julio, but that one easily picked off by David Martinez.
But that is the run in behind, so they keep getting those runs in behind. When Miami is pressed up like that, Lucho will find one of those passes.
Falcone here, some time on the ball. Lucho Acosta with some pressure up towards him. Now Acosta going to chase it back to Callender. Miami now working it up the near side. Norris goes tight against Afonso. Sliding tackle from Ramiro. Mistimed, but we play on. Advantage for Miami. And some space on the far side. Afonso through the lines looking for Pico. Sliding tackle to cut it out from Urgidd. And now Julio looking to stretch his legs and get running the other way. Foot race with Falcone. Falcone had inside position and managed to come away with the ball.
I think Julio could have done a little better there. I think if he just knocks the ball past about 25 yards, I think he probably beats it to him instead of trying to more or less beat him on the dribble.
Something to take note for the Ecuadorian. 23 minutes in, if he does have that speed advantage against the Miami back line. He does most weeks.
And one more time, they're going left every time, and it looks like Urgidd is going to change his position a little bit and maybe go offer Nolan Norris just a little bit more help out there.
Right now it's Norris at center back with Urgidd out at left back.
Yeah, I think that's just a momentary switch.
Norris chased back to Martin Paz under pressure from Obando. Paz goes long. First header won by Julio, flicked on with Farrington in the area. Martinez clearing touch. Then Norris, nice header there, one against Kremoski.
I'm kind of curious now, Ryan. I'm not really sure that's a momentary switch. They may have switched Urgidd and Nolan Norris. Nolan Norris, of course, can play center back.
All loose touch there, and now Farrington's onto it in the attacking half on the far side, waiting for support. Farrington dribbling towards Falcone with Yannick Bright on his back. Doing well to shield off from Bright and then touch it past Falcone, but there's just too many players in pink around him. Eventually loses out. But Dallas with numbers now around the ball. Kaike, though, whistled for a foul.
You know, you talk about the numbers. I noticed that Miami, if you look at the stats on how much they've run, they've actually collectively run more than FC Dallas with one less match. And that just goes to show what you were talking about, how they built this team around a bunch of young guys that can run a lot.
Getting a look at the Miami goal. Maybe it wasn't Fafa Picault. Maybe
an own goal, yeah.
Came off of Shaq Moore, who's, if that's true, he's got one at both ends. Oh, nice flick there from Farrington to Julio. Julio looking for more on the overlap. Still out there, Shaq Moore. And he receives it after Fafa Picault tried to jump the passing lane. A sliding tackle from Falcone sends it down the field. Well, the best way to experience FC Dallas Soccer is with a season ticket membership with a host of options and benefits, making it the best option in sports, including a complimentary MLS season pass membership, discounts on concession at Toyota Stadium, and much more. You can find the membership that's perfect for you at fcdallas.com/memberships.
And producer Sam Hale tells us officially, per MLS, that's an own goal.
Shaq Moore with a goal and an own goal. And we stand at 1-1 as it's switched out to Lucho Acosta on the far side, trying to lift it into the box. And that one's blocked, and now it's Fafa Picault. We'll try and stretch the field going the other way. Ka'ike in retreat. Fafa Picault trying to turn on the Jets. He's got position here against Ka'ike. Ka'ike going all the way, nice sliding tackle to block the cross. And he's the one who comes away with possession. I don't think he had the speed advantage there, but did everything all the way to win the ball back for Dallas.
I just wish he might have launched that tackle a little bit quicker right before he got just to the edge of the penalty area.
Shows onto the ball in midfield. Ball forward for Lucho Acosta. Skips past Yannick Wright. Now Shaq Moore goes on the overlap. Trying to weight the ball in behind for Anderson Julio, but the timing not quite on the mark there. Nothing like we saw in Nashville last night when their right back came away with 3 assists on the 7-2 drubbing of the Chicago Fire.
Nashville had at one point 2 guys sitting on hat tricks. One of them ended up with 4 goals.
That is, of course, where Dallas acquired Shaq Moore in the offseason. I think one of those trades where both teams have ended up feeling pretty good about it. Falcone on the ball here as we play in the 27th minute. 1-1 your score. Shaq Moore with a goal and an own goal.
I mean, there were own goals, and then there are just really unfortunate own goals because that one came off his back.
It was a tough call to give it as an own goal, but it did keep Fafa Picault from getting his 5th goal against FC Dallas since leaving the club.
You gotta like that,
or maybe you don't, because maybe that means he's still due.
Oh, good call.
Ka'ike through the lines finds Lucho. Lucho on the turn. Julio making the run in behind. Lucho tries to lift it towards him, but Aviles stands tall, makes the interception. Lifted down the line, Yannick Bright flicks it towards Abondo, easily dealt with there by Urgidd. Now Urgidd at right center back. He's now played across the entire back line, it feels like. We talked about if we could clone him, we absolutely would, but it feels like there's 2 of them out there at all times. So Bondo's whistled for a foul against Ramiro.
It's not that many times you say a center back is really fun to watch. He is fun to watch.
Back in his normal spot on the left. Receives it from Norris, and they swing it through the back line. It's Ka'ike, picks it up from right back. Trying to go in behind, looking for the run of Farrington. That one cut out by Martinez. Still yet to really unlock the forward line despite getting the goal.
Well, I'm really struggling to figure out the patterns here. Get back to that.
Switched out to Fafa Picault, who's going to run at Shaq Moore from the far side. Overlap comes from Martinez. Dropped off for Yannick Bright. Some space in midfield. To Aviles, making a start in midfield today. Out to Frey. Dangerous ball in, and that one's turned home. And it's Abondo with his first for Inter Miami. Somehow lost his mark and tapped it past Martin Paz.
Yeah, we'll have to look and see what happened there, but the cross comes in from the right side. And again, we'll just have to look because Abondo just slips right in there between, I think right between the 2 center backs. Martin Paz maybe, we'll have to look at it again, but maybe he could have been a little bit more aggressive and not snag that one himself.
Again, the right side for Inter Miami, the near side. These crosses so difficult for Dallas to deal with as they're going from sun to shade.
So it's Ibeagha that's got Abondo, and you just, I don't know if Ibeagha can't see the ball coming out of that shade area, but Abondo just gets the jump and just gets right in front of him. There it is. Watching the replay now, and Ibiaga just gets a really late jump on it. Abondo gets a good jump, starting his run at about 14 yards and ends up at about 4 or 5 yards out. Just beats Paz to the spot and knocks that one home from close range.
Highly rated Ecuadorian teenager. That was his first goal in MLS and his second appearance, his first start.
So the FC Dallas back line that we've been bragging about done so well. Right now just not in their best moment. Norris having an issue and Shaq Moore with the own goal. And that time Ibiaga just plumb got beat.
And bad news for visibility. Now we've got pink smoke to look through. Norris rolls it forward up the near side in the feet of Julio. Now to Lucho. Lucho flicks it out towards Kaique. Kaique trying to return it to the number 10. It's still there, edge of the box for Lucho. And Lucho wanting a free kick, not given, waved away by the referee. Ibiaga steps into midfield to win it back for Dallas. Now out to Shaq Moore. 31st minute, Miami back in front 2-1. On a 19-game unbeaten run in regular season play. Even with a heavily rotated side, plenty of quality, and Dallas has seen that now as we played half an hour. Julio getting that pass wrong, looking for Ramiro. Turns it over, and in possession with Martinez in Miami.
So I was saying a minute ago, Ryan, I can't really figure out the look on offense because there are times when I can't find Julio. There are times when Julio is occupying the same spots as Farrington or occupying the same spots as Lucho. And just now, I see Lucho up there pressing and nobody pressing behind him.
Ball forward from Miami, flicked on, but easily recovered by Nolan Norris.
So Dallas got exactly what we talked about. They got an early goal, and then the defending has just fallen apart since then.
And they really haven't asked any questions of the Miami backline since Shaq Moore opened the scoring. Ball over the top. Header won by Urgidd. Ramiro in midfield, settles it at the feet of Shaq Moore.
Yeah, the only other really good opportunity they had was Lucho from the corner of the penalty area trying to drop one in behind Callender.
Norris back to Osazi. Surveys what's ahead of him. Now he hits a diagonal ball, switching it out to the far side for Shaq Moore, but that one just overhit and out of play. Well, FC Dallas is back home Saturday, May 10th to host Real Salt Lake. For tickets and more information, you can visit fcdallas.tickets.com. Before that, they do have the U.S. Open Cup game as well against AV Alta on May 7th here at Toyota Stadium. Between then and now, San Diego on the road next week. Also goes in midfield to be a Dallas free kick.
Bondo kicked the ball away as well. So he's going to get a talking to, which you're not supposed to get. You're supposed to get a yellow card. Well, the good news for everybody trying to watch this game is that I think by the second half it's going to be mostly in the shade. I think that shade line will keep crawling.
Shaq Moore, ball ahead for Lucho Acosta, right side of the penalty area, matched up with Falcone. And the cross was blocked by Falcone, back up onto the arm of Lucho Acosta, and the whistle goes for a handball. Ian Frey, who's been the danger man really for Miami, nearly saw that back pass to Callender, picked off by Farrington, but it does arrive back for his goalkeeper.
When you don't have a good shape on the attack, it makes things less predictable, and what you get is a team full of backups for Miami dominating possession, 60 to 40% right now.
Bondo out to Fafa Pico, some space for him, and it's Ibiaga defending. Corner the 18, Pico goes down the line, low cross swung in, Shaq Moore concedes the corner. As he cuts out the cross at the near post. Kramaski will head out to take it here in the 35th minute. from the far side, so no sun to deal with for Martin Paz and the defenders.
Maschi will have to look into it, but all he has to do is hit one ball.
Maschi towards the back post, but that one comfortable for Martin Paz, who makes an easy catch. And launches it long, looking for the speed of Anderson Julio over the top. Calendar out off his line, gets there. His clearance intercepted by Acosta on the halfway line.
Miami goalkeepers like to play really aggressively. Starry, who's usually in there, his actions outside the penalty area are 21.5 yards higher than any other goalkeeper, so they like to play that high line, and they want the goalkeepers up high as well.
Acosta through the lines towards Show, tried to flick it on towards Farrington. Intercepted there off the foot of the Angolan. And now Miami can drive through midfield. Kremaski with both Kaique and Show behind the play. Here's the ball in behind for Leo Afonso, edge of the 18. Leo Afonso past Martin Paz, but Urgidd there to erase the chance and prevent Miami from doubling the lead.
Urgidd's recovery speed is one of the things that makes him elite. You saw it right there. Have to get another look at that, how Dallas got beaten so far behind the back line.
And what was a dream start for Dallas with a goal in the opening 10 minutes for the first time this season. They really look lost out there right now. We conceded twice and just can't connect on passes at the moment. Ramiro wins a header in midfield out to Farrington. Farrington, nowhere to go. He at least wins a throw. Ramiro leading the game in touches with 27. He's been busy, and he's a yellow card away from missing the next match for FC Dallas. That's one to watch. The only player on the cusp of suspension.
A couple of the guys, 2 away, including Coach Eric Quill.
Acosta's not booked today. That takes one away for the good behavior policy, as they call it. Time on the ball for Gonzalo Lujan and Miami in their own half here.
Well, whereas FC Dallas in the first 15 minutes, they had the ability to sit back a little bit more. Now they're behind by a goal, so Miami's going to be a little bit more content to keep the ball in their half and make Dallas come out a little bit.
82 degrees and 60% humidity in South Florida. Just about what it is here in North Texas as well. Maybe even more humid here, I think, today. Julio does his defensive work there, backtracking, sliding in to win it back for Dallas. Now out to the far side for Logan Farrington. Julio continues the run. Farrington in towards Acosta. Tried to leave it there for Julio, but not on the same page. But Farrington's done well. He's won it back here. Now ball out to the right side for Lucho. Lucho, corner to the 18. Trying to find a way past Falcone, but Falcone able to make the tackle there right on the edge of the box.
Just wonder, is Lucho at the point, 30 years old now, where he's just going to have to recalibrate his game and just not try to take people on quite as much one-on-one. He can see the pass, he can dribble out of trouble in tight spaces, but maybe he just can't, maybe he's just not explosive enough to beat people one-on-one as much anymore.
Possession with Dallas on the halfway line in Ibeaga. Urgidd out to Nolan Norris. Haven't called his name much since a difficult moment on the first Inter Miami goal. Miami now sitting in their shape, and Dallas looking for a way through. Ramiro popping up out at right back, down the line for Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore going to try and move from outside to in, but he coughs it up. And Miami players there looking up, looking for runners. There was no one. And Dallas wins it back right around the halfway line. Now here's Show in the center circle. Ball in behind, and Farrington will give chase. He's there ahead of Falcone. Falcone on his back. And Falcone trips him up. And this time Farrington does get the whistle. And Acosta trying to go quickly. The referee not going to allow it.
I don't understand that. I do not understand what Lucas Spala and Ramiro's making the same case. I don't know what to say about that.
No yellow card.
It's not even that. It's why can't Dallas take that free kick quickly?
Well, at least if he had given a yellow card, that's why
You're right, yes. So good point out. Good point to make there.
But there was no yellow card, and Farrington, I think, won a penalty in the aftermath. He got in behind, right? And he was tripped up.
And I see that sometimes, and I cannot understand why referees wouldn't give you rewarding the team that's fouled by not allowing teams to play a quick free kick.
Sam Acosta, I think, will look to find a teammate here from the far side. Whips it into the danger area towards Norris. Last touch was off of FC Dallas, and it'll be a goal kick. Callender wearing the armband for Inter Miami. By far the most MLS experience of his teammates today, maybe outside of Fafa Picault. And they'll send the pink-clad home side up the field and launch it long. First header won there by Miami, flicked on Afonso, matched up with Urgidd, and Urgidd comes away with it even with pressure from Picault, who goes sliding in and commits a foul. Picault holding the inside of his left leg. Just got some cleats on it there from Urgidd after Miami man went sliding in. Dallas resume play here in the 42nd minute, trailing 2-1. Norris trying to go over the top, nobody making the run, and it's easy for Falcone to head back to Callender.
The little triangle there between Farrington, Anderson, Julio, and Lucho, it's just not working right now. I'd really like to see Dallas maybe change shape in the second half.
Missing some of their depth in the attacking areas with Leo Chu out, Sebastian Lletget out as well. And of course no Petter Musa at all, which means you don't have the likes of a Logan Farrington amongst the reserves.
I mean, as a triangle, they haven't played together this year, so I guess some of that is predictable.
Acosta looking to find more beaten to it there. And it turns over in the middle third. Miami just going to possess the ball here. They will not mind taking a 2-1 lead into the halftime break, and we're 2 minutes plus stoppage time away from that. Better one in midfield for Ibiaga. Settled by Kayike. Show clattered into there. He's going to have to pick himself back up as the referee didn't give a free kick, but Frey got a foot on the ball there ahead of Lucho. Back, Dallas back four now, and Urgidd trying to work through the lines. That's something that's been pretty much non-existent for Dallas, and they gave it away there as Ramiro couldn't find Show. Now Julio will chase it all the way back to Callender. Callender under pressure from the Ecuadorian. Still able to find Davin Martinez. Yannick Bright lifts it ahead to Obando. It's on the score sheet today. Miami looking for a third now, ball in behind, but Afonso stopped his run. And that one comfortable for Martin Paz. Well, you shouldn't miss the FC Dallas Rewind on KDFI More 27 every Tuesday night during the regular season at 7 p.m. You can catch a replay of the most recent FC Dallas match for free on KDFI More 27. This free over-the-air channel is available everywhere in the DFW market. I think that's a fantastic program from the club to make those games free and available for fans, but so far it's come at a bad time. Dallas got a goal today. That's their first goal since they started that program after the game against Seattle. They're looking for their first win for the KDFI Rewind. KK on it on the far side in the attacking areas. Bright gets a foot on the ball, out for a throw near the corner flag.
I'm watching the players warm up for Dallas, and I'm sort of wondering if Siki and Sabeling is the guy to bring in maybe at halftime. They need a little bit more possession and just a little bit more connection through the midfield right now.
Moore takes the throw, gets it back from Ramiro. Ramiro down the line, looking for options inside the box, chips it towards Farrington. Show gets a foot on the ball on the edge of the box. Second ball bounces out for Miami. As the board goes up for the fourth official, that'll be 2 minutes added on here in the first half.
Big ball out of the back, cleared away there nicely by Nolan Norris.
Possession with Miami. 30 seconds through the 2 minutes added on. Calendar goes long. Urgidd gets there, takes it down on the chest for Show. That's just, for me, Show has just looked all out of sorts today. I don't know if it's the role they're asking him to play or just the issue technically, but he hasn't offered much for Dallas up the left side there. He overhit that one looking for Norris and went all the way through to Pass. Final minute of the first half, Nolan Norris on the ball. Switched over to Ibiaga. Ibiaga go long over the top. Farrington makes the run, well timed. Receives it, corner to the 18 on the near side. Faces up his defender, overlap comes from Show, finds Lucho, tried to flick it back towards him, but didn't come off there. Good work from Ibiaga, try and keep the pressure on, but breaks for Yannick Bright, who's been great pickup out of the draft for Inter Miami.
At that time, finding the overlapping run would have been the better option, I think, for Logan Farrington. And we heard Eric Poole talk about how sometimes they're a little too deferential to Lucho, and I think that was the case there because Lucho was covered up.
Here's the ball over the top from Ramiro. Header back towards Calendar, and that one just able to evade Anderson Julio. And that should do it in the first half. We'll wait the whistle from Lucas Spala. And after the early goal from Shaq Moore, it's Inter Miami who lead 2-1 going into the halftime break. We'll break it down on the halftime show. On the other side of this break, it's Inter Miami 2, FC Dallas 1 here on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 45 plus at Chase Stadium in Florida, it's FC Dallas 1, Inter Miami 2, as Sunday soccer is not going quite the way the Toros want as they look to set a brand new record for undefeated games on the road to start a season, but they're going to have to come back to do it as they trail by 1 at the half. Hello everybody, it is the FC Dallas Halftime Show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by Advocare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in a couple minutes by the voices of the broadcast, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But first, let's get you to your halftime highlight. It came Of all things, in the 8th minute, Dallas finally getting on the board prior to the 30-minute mark, and it was one of their new acquisitions opening his account.
Ball back in the midfield for Ramiro. Ramiro into the box for Farrington. Farrington some space to get the shot away, blocked by Falcone. Follow-up from Ka'ike, blocked as well. And now Shaq Moore. Oh, what a goal! What a finish for Shaq Moore, his first FC Dallas goal. And he gives the visitors the lead in Fort Lauderdale 8 minutes in.
Dallas's right back gets his first of the season. That made it 1-0 Dallas in the 8th minute. And then Shaq Moore would score again officially, just not for his team. An own goal that probably should have been credited to Fafa Pico. However you want to look at it, the goal goes in. It's 1-1 Miami, and Dallas not up in the 16th minute. But then there was no doubt Alan Obando comes in the 29th minute. He scores to break the deadlock. That made it 2-1 Miami, which is our score at the half. Let's bring you our halftime stats, brought to you this afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it, by UMB Bank. The home side has the possession lead 55-45. 5 shots, 2 on goal for the Herons. 5 shots, 2 on goal for FCD. 3 corners for the home side, 1 for the visitors. 1 save apiece for Drake Callender and Martin Paz. 13 combined fouls, 7 for Dallas, 6 for Miami. As we bring in the commentary team for today's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Steve, we're starting to see a pattern with this club in general. The first about 10, maybe even 15 minutes, they come out with some energy. Today they even got a goal, the first time they've done that. But then after that, it kind of becomes, for lack of a better term, very mushy for Dallas.
Yeah, you said starting to see a pattern. I'd say the pattern's clear. And you're right, and that's a little bit of a problem. On the other hand, they did get the early goal, and then this back line that we've been bragging about, just having some real struggles today. Ian Frey, I actually think he's a pretty good player, and I think he's done okay when he's played on the right side over there. And usually what happens, by the way, with Miami is the attack is tilted left. They want to establish left under Jordi Alba and then move the ball back right where Messi sort of plays in the half space. Today it's been Ian Frey causing a lot of problems over there for Nolan Norris. And then in the middle, that second goal, it looked like, I'll just say it, it looked like an 18-year-old playing against a 33-year-old because Obanda, who's a young Ecuadorian, he just beats Ibeagha to the spot, leaves Ibeagha in the dust, and scores from close range. So some struggles on the back line today, and they need to fix it.
And one thing, Ryan, that I think is becoming evident, even without the Barcelona boys, Suarez, Messi, Alba, Miami seems to be sticking to their system, what they want to do. They've just altered it for some of the players. For Dallas, specifically on offense, it still looks a little mysterious as to what they want, even though they've got guys like Lucho Acosta, Anderson Julio, and the big dog Logan Farrington out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, I'm pretty disappointed with Lucho for the second straight week because as disjointed as things have been, there have still been probably five moments where he got the ball in dangerous positions and he just passed it right into the defender. Didn't look dangerous at all. I mean, he had a couple of a decent free kick and corner kick services, but he just wasn't, at his best at all. And I think that's been the case for the past couple of weeks for Dallas, even rotating him to the bench last week. But if he's not going to be at his best, then this system isn't going to work because it's based on finding him and making runs off of that. And maybe, Steve, I think that we might need to see a formation change in response to that because there's one runner maybe in behind, and that's it right now for Lucho when he's on the ball.
Yeah, it's just not working out. Anderson Julio is making some runs in behind, but one of the keys to the match is they got to find him. I remember one in particular where Anderson Julio is making a good committed run. Logan Farrington has the ball. He's got time. He's got space. He looks up, and he just doesn't hit the pass. You just got to have the confidence to make the pass. I mean, it's okay to look for Lucho, but if the pass is there, you have to have it. Now, otherwise, though, like I said, that front three triangle between Anderson Julio, Logan Farrington, and Lucho Acosta, at some point you have to have some kind of a reference point. And then, it should be Farrington, and you should be keeping that high place up there, and then Anderson Julio working off of him, but there's just too much fluidity in there with no reference point. There's no pattern. There's no pattern play. So something needs to happen, and I think it might be a formation change, as you said, Ryan.
I want to follow up on that slightly, Steve. When it comes to that sort of thing you're talking about, that fluidity, that shape, is that more a symptom of the players themselves? Is that what they're being told? Is it a combination, or is it even really impossible to tell based on what the information we have?
Well, it's fortunately, Sam, on the attack, it's what we've seen all year. We've said it before, and it's a little bit of a broken record here, but they just haven't figured out what they want to be on the attack. The goals were coming before because they had a lot of players up front, and because it was just basically either Lucho or Pedro Musa sort of making a moment. Anderson Julio contributing some of that as well. And now, with Pedro Musa out, Lucho not playing as well, you're going to have to rely a little bit more on some pattern play and on some kind of a comprehensive tactical approach. They just haven't figured out what they want to be at, and until you figure out what you want to be, you can't build it.
As we kind of look at what could improve over the second half, as Dallas trails 2-1 at the break to Inter Miami. One of the things that you speculated about, and Ryan, I'll start here with you, was in that midfield maybe bringing on someone like Osazi and Sabling, and one of the players that could be a potential replacement is Sho Kafumana, who, as he's returned to the lineup, he's gotten healthy, but we haven't quite seen the best of him yet.
Yeah, I mean, I thought last week he was pretty good, and he was tidy on the ball, and I don't think they asked him to come wide as much. He's been asked to pop wide and support Nolan Norris more in this first half, and to me that doesn't suit him because he doesn't offer anything in terms of on the dribble with speed in behind or anything like that you'd want out of a winger. So with him having to come so wide in this first half, it just didn't suit him at all. And also he just had a couple of really sloppy moments, which, I mean, we've seen that over his now 10 MLS games, since he came over in the summer last year. He's not the most tuned in at all times, with his technical ability, but he does have, good range of passing. He does have good ability to beat the first man, and we haven't seen any of those strengths today in the first half. And I think a lot of that is down to the role they're asking of him. Siki and Sabling could potentially do that role a little bit better, but for me, I'd like to see Dallas go to the 4-2-3-1. I know Bernard Kamungo hasn't been in good form, but just bring a winger on, bring an attacking player on, and stretch the width, because right now everything, again, trying to funnel through the middle, get players into their positions, explain, the roles of the wingers needs to be simplified, I think, and Lucho can then find them, and Farrington can be that reference point through the middle.
Yeah, I like that idea. Could also be Leo Chu, who could play out there on the wing, because you're absolutely right. What happens, one of the things that's happening right now is between Yannick Bright, Kramaski, Tomas Avilas, Leo Alfonso tilting in a lot from his side as well. That's a pretty athletic, it's a young athletic midfield that a guy like Sho is having to get through. Now Kaike can sort of navigate that a little bit because he's young and got the athleticism himself, but Ramiro really doesn't. So they're getting outworked a little bit in there, and I really do like your idea of getting a little more width across the field and spreading that out a little bit and making them pay. If they're going to play that compact, you know what? Go around them.
Yeah, and we saw it work, to great effect against Atlanta. Dallas immediately scored and nearly, got a winning goal a couple of different times when they switched from the narrow formation to the width. Maybe the team, that you're playing is prepared for that narrow formation all week, and when you make that adjustment, you can spring a good 10-15 minute spell to start the half on them.
I will say, if Leo Chu comes in, we've got a story, since he is not in the 20 that I can find at least.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
The opposite options for Dallas, if they want to bring on offense, Patrick Delgado, Siki, as we mentioned, Pedrinho, Tarek Scott, Diego Garcia, Bernard Kamungo, all attacking options for Dallas. And we haven't seen Garcia or Scott this year, Ryan, but those are young prospects that have some flexibility in their game, some fluidity in their game. I'm not saying they would be the correct answers, but if you're looking for different solutions, those two young players present some options for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it, to be honest. I mean, it's not like they're playing against Busquets and Alba and Messi. They're playing against other, 23 and under players. This is, guys that they've faced in MLS Next Pro, and the likes of Benjamin Kramaski and Ian Frey. So they're familiar with their game. And, if you're going to bring him in, obviously it's a tough one, right? You make your MLS debut in Miami, but if you're Diego Garcia, but maybe he can bring a spark off the Dallas bench and help them get organized in midfield, help them build a cohesive pattern through the middle, because I don't think they had one, sort of attack where they combined from goalkeeper or center back all the way through the middle, through Ramiro, find Lucho. Like, it didn't come through the middle. It came around the outside, and so your two options would either be to try and reinforce that midfield or try and spread out the width, and that would be my preference, and you could bring on a Tarek Scott to play on the wing, or, like I already mentioned, Bernard Kamungo.
And for me, the times Anderson Julio has looked the most effective this year was on the wing.
Yeah, moving from outside to in, sort of the blindside run.
And quickly here before we finish up, Steve, I know this one may sound a little kooky, but how long would you give Lucho Acosta before you go, hey, maybe we need to think about just making a change? Maybe it's just not his day.
I would like to see a formation change and to see if he can operate effectively within that before I would make that decision.
I think that's more than fair. Well, Dallas has 45 minutes and change to figure out what they're going to do. They're down 2-1 to Inter Miami at the breakdown at Chase Stadium. That is your halftime show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action. It's Inter Miami 2, FC Dallas 1. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the kid of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi everyone, it's Paxton Palmacall, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Well, familiar voice there in Paxton Palmacall, who we hope to see back soon. He's in full training with the team, a couple of weeks away maybe from making his season debut. Dallas on the road today at Inter Miami. Got the dream start through Shaq Moore, but find themselves trailing 2-1 after Miami fought back and Dallas struggled to really create any threat after that opening goal. We are just about set for the second half kickoff as the heavily rotated Inter Miami side will take the ball and get us back underway here. Alan Abondo on our screen right now. He's got the go-ahead goal as it stands. The teenager out of Ecuador with his first goal in Major League Soccer. As Lucas Spala blows the whistle, and we are back underway. Trying to take a quick survey of the 11 for Dallas. Don't see any changes hopping off the page right away. Eric Quill has been very hesitant to make any changes at the halftime break for performance reasons. He did, of course, have to make an injury sub last week for Lalas Abubakar. As Miami build up on the near side, and the shade has crept to about 80% coverage of the field. So when it's on the far, far side, it's still going to be tough to see. But at least they've got the camera recalibrated for the shade side.
But I believe it might start getting sunny back on Martin Paz's goal, though.
Dallas now moving from left to right here in the second half. They're wearing the red and blue. Miami in all pink, moving from right to left. Dallas stepping the pressure up here, and Acosta gets a touch on it and out of play off of Falcone. It'll be a goal kick. So we get a look at the VIP suite of Messi and Suarez, both mate in hand.
Yep, I was just about to say, with that special glass and special straw.
Watching on today as they've got a Champions Cup semifinal second leg to prepare for on Wednesday. And they've got a rescue mission there as they're down 2-0 after the game at Vancouver on Thursday. Ian Frey under pressure from Ramiro. His opposite number 17. He cannons it off Ramiro and out for a throw.
I'm not sure I wouldn't rather see one of the 8s up that high with Ramiro back protecting the back line a little bit more in that instance, because he's pretty high up the field.
Well, he and Shaq Moore by far leading the team in terms of total distance covered on the season. That, of course, is also heavily minutes dependent. They're one of just 3 now for Dallas that have started every game alongside Osazi Urgidd, who's got it here, switching it out to Norris. Back with Osazi, surveys the options, has to go back out to Norris now, under pressure from 2. And finds Ebiaga through a pass back to Martin Paz. Ka'ike set back for Ramiro. Nice 1-2, and Lucho, just an awkward, heavy touch there. As Dallas had finally found the combination through midfield, he turns it over. Fafa Pico nearly lets it run under his foot, but now he lifts the ball in behind for Frey to chase. Ramiro gets there and nods it back for Martin Paz.
Nice smart play there by Ramiro. Was a nice little entry ball from Fafa Pico over on the right. Ramiro just nice and calmly heads it back to his goalkeeper.
Miami going to put pressure on the Dallas back line as Osazi brings it forward. Now tries to drive it over the top. It flicks off a Miami head. Farrington was there and interested. And now Julio puts pressure on Lujan, but Heron's able to keep it. Frey goes long on the far side. Put race between Obando and Urgidd. Urgidd gets there first. He's got body position. Now needs to find a way out. And just watches it over the line for a throw.
I mean, he's got that move down, doesn't he? Just uses his speed, get in front of the defender, shield it outside, and seems to work every time.
I'll tell you, if Dallas finds himself in a position late in the game with the lead, send Osazi to the corner flag. I don't know if anyone will be able to win it back. And there's some nice dribbling from the center back there. Pass 2, finds Show. Ahead to Farrington. Now Ramiro trying to switch the ball out to Shaq Moore. It's deflected on the way through, but does break for Shaq Moore. Still in the Dallas half. Time on the ball for Ramiro. He lifts it over the top, and it's Julio making the run. Callender out off his line, and he claims it right on the edge of the 18.
Now one more time, Miami's goalkeepers playing that high position. You got to get those balls out of the back, especially. You got to get them right. A little more loft, a little bit more checkup on them. Miami back line there, bouncing it back and forth with Callender. Now the goalkeeper does go long out towards Pico. Pico just went down there and won a free kick. I didn't see anything that Nolan Norris did wrong. So Fafa Pico in the first half was playing on the left side. Now he's playing on the right. So he'll be going against Nolan Norris. Dallas looking unchanged in terms of the shape. Coming out for the second half, 5 minutes in now in the 50th minute. It's Miami leading 2-1. Diagonal ball from near side to far. Pico brings it down, and this time Norris again whistled for a free kick. I would think the next foul, Nolan Norris, unless he can put up a few minutes in between it, he'll go in the referee's book. Nobody booked so far for either side. Miami goes short here, and then lifted into the box. Header won by Norris. And now here's Julio looking to get on the turn through the middle third. And a heavy touch presents possession to Miami. And Tomas Aviles there. Now combining through the middle. Good step up there by Nolan Norris to stop that attack. And he's got some defending to do once again. Wide with Pico. Pico's cross blocked by Norris and behind for a corner. This one will be taken from the final patch of sun-bathed grass on the far side by Benjamin Kremaski. Under the Miami supporter section. They send the troops forward, and they got plenty of targets to aim at here. As Falcone just throws Urgidd to the ground there. Referee blows the whistle as the corner is being taken. Referee not really making himself clear as to how he wants to restart play. For me, Steve, on these situations, just give the foul. They shouldn't get another chance at the corner when Falcone's just thrown Urgidd to the ground. But it looks like they will. No, the ball's not in play. I think it was, or at least very bang. I just think that sometimes referees make a big meal out of the contact in the box and then just do nothing about it. As a corner now swung into the danger area, Ebiaga wins the header. Lucho helps it further on. Did he get a kick out of it there? I saw Spallo talking to both players, and I'm thinking I don't know what Urgidd did there. He was standing there and he got thrown to the ground. I don't know why that's a talking to for both of them.
Miami now chase all the way back to Callender as Dallas stepped the line up. Farrington here chasing Yannick Bright into the Dallas half. Back heel from Bright. Now space for Kremoski. Kremoski has his pocket picked by Lucho. Kaike can't find a teammate. It's turned over to Aviles, who drive forward now. Ball ahead for Fafa Picault. Urgidd goes to ground. He wins the ball. And Show unable to keep it in play, so it'll be a corner.
Urgidd jumped into that tackle pretty aggressively. Needed to get it right. Looks like he did.
It's Fafa Picault still down. I'll tell you, Urgidd got a lot of Fafa Picault there, even as he did get the ball on the way through.
I'd like to see them put this back in play quickly, but
it's a Miami corner, so they're in no rush. And we will play on. Kremoski takes it in, and Farrington gets the first touch to it out of the Dallas 18. Now Frey with the ball forward, flicked along, and Kremoski in along the far side. Urgidd out to meet him. Julio gets his body between man and ball, and then he does well to win a free kick.
And if that's not a yellow card, then I don't know what is, because I guess it's not.
That was the center back Gonzalo Lujan kicking the ball away.
He just absolutely kicks the ball away.
Getting another look at it.
Maybe Urgidd's
I think his knee got the ball,
foot.
right?
Something maybe got the ball first.
Something definitely got the ball.
And bailed him out a little bit there. Otherwise, that's trouble.
55th minute, Dallas unable to make any real impression in the opening 10 minutes of the second half, and there's a ball up the middle, turned over.
Dallas right now just can't play through the midfield. They really need a shape change, I think.
Kremoski picks it up for Miami. Back to Falcone. Miami opting not even to roster some of their big names in Messi and Suarez and Alba today. So far, no problem for them. Turning to the reserves, but Fafa Picault's got a problem here. He's gone down. And picks himself back up. Miami still with possession. Play never stopped. Ball down the line up the near side. Afonso there holding off Ibeagha. And the run out of midfield from Kremoski. Foot race with Shaq Moore. A lot of space here. Shaq Moore trying to hold him up on the edge of the 18. Inside the box now, and that one off the post and in. All finished off nicely there by Martinez, of all people. And it's gone from bad to worse now for Eric Quill and FC Dallas.
Well, credit to Martinez for fighting through that challenge, but I think he might have Miami might have gone to the spot if he doesn't score that, because he's being held up by Shaq Moore over there, and still manages to fight through it and beat Martin Paz at the far post. It's been a really good year for Dallas's back line, and it's a pretty bad day for Dallas's back line.
Gonna look at the replay now. It was Ibeagha who'd been dragged forward, and Shaq Moore left on an island with Kremoski. Got his body in the way, but then got caught wrong side of Kremoski, and then just flying through. Devin Martinez gets his first Inter-Miami goal. Similar to Shaq Moore, really, in the Dallas goal in the first half. Just popping up and finding a nice finish.
And somebody's got to track that run, too. Look, credit to Miami. Under Javier Mascherano, you had a feeling, knowing Mascherano's personality, that he was going to have this group up for it, and he was going to motivate them and tell them, you've got to go out there and protect the streak and keep us ahead. Right now, Miami's, in terms of points per game, at 2.25. They're the best in Major League Soccer, and credit to Miami, because they're making it really hard on Dallas.
Well, here's a nice build-up for Dallas. And then a heavy touch from Julio, who was offside anyway. As Kaike and Ramiro finally got the ball moving there through midfield.
And, I'm sort of wondering, Ryan, of something that you brought up, that, maybe after they understand that it's a different lineup, maybe it's just hard for Dallas today because they don't look good.
Well, they're going to make 2 changes here as Pedrinho is on for Show and Lalas Abubakar is on for Nolan Norris. And Pedrinho bringing some instructions as well. And we'll see if this does indicate a shape change. There are 3 center backs out there, and Abubakar's brought some notes with him as well to hand off to a teammate, get the ideas across.
He's turning in his homework, it looks like, out there. So I would think that's going to be 3 in the back, and we'll see what else after that.
The only spot I'd be curious about is who's going to set up on the left. It looks like Anderson Julio will be the left wing back. With Pedrinho joining Lucho in support of Logan Farrington. We've seen Dallas use a back 3 to close out games, but they're desperately in need of some offense here, and they've turned to the shape change, try and take advantage of some width.
So it looks like it'll be Ka'ike dropping in next to Ramiro for the 2 in front of the back 3.
And Pedrinho, good first involvement from him. 1-2 with Ramiro. He can drive forward now. He's got options either side. And he was looking for Logan Farrington, but just picked the wrong option that time. But a nice spark to at least get Dallas into the attacking third there from Pedrinho, who started the last game. He's won it back here from Dallas. Ball ahead. Lucho trying to combine with Farrington, but off the mark there, and Lucho just throws his arms up in frustration.
Bad body language there from Lucho Acosta. Saw it a while ago, too, but he didn't think the press was right. He needs to be a leader.
Wearing the armband for Dallas, as he did in Cincinnati as well previously. Pedrinho out to Julio, playing a different role now. And here's a ball that breaks in behind. Pedrinho's going to give chase. Falcone gets there. Dallas certainly with more numbers forward in this new formation. Here's Lucho. Ball ahead to Farrington. Set back for Julio. Edge of the 18. Julio out to Shaq Moore. All kinds of space. On the near side, Shaq Moore with the shot right at Callender, and the second effort blocked behind as well. And Shaq Moore, who's already on the score sheet twice for a goal and an own goal, has the best opportunity of the second half there for Dallas.
I think Lucho is upset at Shaq Moore, but I think Lucho was looking away from goal. Shaq Moore was coming in, so I think that was the right choice for Shaq to take that. But
they go short here from the corner. Julio drop with the shoulder, gets to the byline, and then Fafa Picot concedes another corner. And there's bodies strewn across the 18-yard box, and now some afters between Ka'ike and Kramaski.
I think it was Farrington getting in the middle of that.
And Falcone just ripping Urgid's shirt right in front of the referee, who's just absolutely inexplicably not giving any yellow cards.
Lucas Spalla has to take control here. I cannot understand why he's let some of this stuff go, and eventually it's going to bite him.
Still more talking to do with Kramaski now, as Dallas will have another chance from the corner kick. And Urgidd having words with Falcone while this continues.
Well, why not? If Lucas Spalla's not going to do anything about it.
Ball towards the back post. Urgidd put off his run by Falcone. Now settled by Pedrinho inside the 18. Breaks for Ka'ike, making his way up the far side. Ka'ike with Kramaski defending. Ka'ike unable to keep that one in play. It'll be a throw for Miami.
I guess what I would say about this, Ryan, is right now, every Dallas player out there has to elevate their level.
They've got the moment with the tactical change before Miami can respond with anything of their own. And we saw that work against Atlanta, where they brought Ka'ike on, brought some width on with Kamungo.
But the
energy part is what they need now.
Heavy touches, letting guys run by them, not matching the physicality. The tactical change is fine. You still got to put out the effort, just like you said.
Abondo loses out to Pedrinho.
But also better choices, too.
Out for a Dallas throw.
Trying to replay that corner kick. Falcone let go of Urgidd just in time.
Dallas building up on the near side. Ball ahead to Pedrinho. Pedrinho with 3 Miami players around him. Nice work past 2 of them. Now finds Lucho Acosta, edge of the 18. Ball in behind for Ramiro on the near side. Chipped ball in. And that one's comfortable for Callender. It's just falling to the wrong players in the attacking third right now for Dallas. Shaq Moore, who did score earlier in the game, but wouldn't be too high up your list. And then Ramiro there, just unable to do anything with it.
I agree with you, although I will say that Ramiro is one, willing to make the run, willing to put out the little extra effort there. So at least he's doing that.
And Dallas, it seems to me like they've found some more joy tactically since the change. You have to cash it in for a goal to try and get back within 1. They trail 3-1 here in the 63rd minute.
And you got to remember, a lot of these players out there for Miami haven't played 90 minutes a lot this year.
And even though they don't have a Messi or Suarez on the bench, they do still have some good options to turn to. As Lucho's 1-2 there with Pedrinho doesn't come off, but Ka'ike sliding tackle wins it back. Here's Pedrinho. Finds Farrington, corner of the 18 on the near side. Farrington gets past Falcone just about. Now Shaq Moore, 2 players on him, and he wins a free kick.
Can Dallas move the ball a little quicker there? Can they go a little quicker after the turnover created by Ka'ike, which was a really good moment for him?
And this will be a free kick on the near side, 5 yards outside the box or so. Chance for Dallas to get Urgidd, get Ibeagha into the box.
Nice little drop of the shoulder. A minute ago from Acosta to find a little room, but then his 1-2 with Pedrinho just doesn't come off.
Urgidd has resumed pleasantries with Falcone. As Acosta on the approach in towards Urgidd, who wins the header. Urgidd on the follow-up. Oh, it's his first FC Dallas goal. And he's going to let Falcone hear about it. Dallas back within 1 through Osazi Urgidd.
Now we talked about how it's a big day for Urgidd because Miami means more eyes on. It's Sunday soccer. So he just showed everybody that not only can he defend, not only can he recover, not only can he read the game, he can score a goal too.
Hit the crossbar last week against Atlanta. Here's a replay. First header won against Falcone, blocked off the body of the Miami center back and then fell back to Urgidd, who volleyed it into the ground and past the sprawling Callender. And will that bring the energy that Dallas required? Eric Quill pumping up the team from the sideline.
It was Urgidd who had the original header, although he didn't get much on it, if anything at all. But as that ball bounced around, fell right at his feet, he was able to swing the right leg out there from close range. And I think that ball took a little bit of a deflection, and that deflection helped to get past Drake Callender.
But what a moment for the standout performer this season for FC Dallas, at least since Pedrinho went down with the injury. Can that propel them back into the game? They still need 1 to draw level. Bringing it forward up the left side. Ball forward looking for Farrington over his head. And now numbers going the other way for Miami. Kremoski runs into Urgidd, tries to win the sliding tackle, but Kremoski skips past him into the 18. Now Kremoski low ball across and Abubakar there to clear it away.
Well, immediately after the goal, though, Urgidd didn't sort of whiffed on one clearing attempt, and that time got beat 1-on-1.
Breaks for Kremoski once again on the far side. Ka'ike defending just outside the area. And Pedrinho comes across. He puts it out of play. It'll be a Miami throw. I believe Miami made changes in the wake of the goal, but we haven't seen who that was just yet. Or maybe the PA announcer's just blabbing about something else.
No, they've definitely made one change there.
All good work from Pico on the far side, and then Ibeagha steps in front and watches it roll out for a goal kick. But Urgidd, after scoring, has now been left on the ground a couple of times. He's going to be slow to get up here. And that's a concern, a big one for FC Dallas. Still not fully back to his feet as Dallas tried to take the goal kick. Dallas was content to play, but the referee made them bring it back as now Urgidd is back to his feet.
I see Noah Allen in there. I can't tell yet who he's come in for.
Nice touch through midfield there for Lucho. Finds Ramiro. Pedrinho on the ball at the halfway line. Head up, looking for option. Has to check back for Ramiro. But Pedrinho, I think, has been a positive introduction so far.
I agree.
Now Ka'ike can drive forward. Ball in behind, looking for Farrington. Sliding tackle one by the Miami defender. Breaks back for Dallas, who now control possession. Redondo out there as well for Miami. That's a second change. Ramiro lifts it out to the near side. Shaq Moore matched up with Noah Allen. Redondo comes away with it.
So the changes were Noah Allen for Falcon and then Redondo for Afonso.
Redondo chased back here to Martinez, who now has the go-ahead goal as things stand, but his diagonal just out of the reach of Ian Frey, out for a Dallas throw on the far side.
But Miami hasn't really had much in the last 15-20 minutes. You like Dallas as the team more likely to get the next goal.
Well, as much as we were enjoying the Osazi against Falcon matchup, now that's going to end, and Osazi had the last lap to an extent. Dallas still trailing.
And I think that was only because Falcon had played the other night and probably will play again this week.
Now Osazi going to have to defend. It's brought forward by Kremoski. Cross deflected in towards Pico. But Abubakar got his body in the way and helped it back to Martin Paz.
Thought Abubakar was good last week in the half he played against Minnesota. Then he had to come out injury-related, so good to see him back out there.
Pedrinho, ball in behind, looking for the run of Julio. Flag stays down for now. Julio in on goal against Callender. Julio slides it past the keeper. And Dallas level things at 3. The tactical changes once again from Eric Quill paying dividends, and Julio has his second of the season.
Julio with a good run in behind. We talked about that, how he was making those runs in behind in the first half. Dallas just wasn't finding him that time. Well-timed run. Ball played out of the back. We'll have to get another look at who plays that ball. It might be Pedrinho. It's Pedrinho that plays the ball out of the back and gets that backside, backdoor run from Julio. Takes a couple of touches. Drake Callender not very aggressive and coming off his line. Anderson Julio on the breakaway beats him from 12 yards, 3-3.
Oh, great service from Pedrinho, who's made such a positive impact since coming on. That's to the tune now of 2 Dallas goals. As we're still waiting for an angle to make me feel confident enough to say the goal's been confirmed, as Julio was testing that back line. But his first goal since the season opener in Houston, and it's a big one. Dallas now with 20 minutes to go and win this thing.
And unless Miami finds a different gear, the one that I haven't seen in the last 15 minutes at least, then it's going to be Dallas that's more likely to get the winner now.
Well, the goal is confirmed, and we play on now. With Abondo taking the kickoff, and the energy and the momentum is with the visitors. Fafa Pico's ended up on the ground away from the play. Abubakar now in conversation with the referee. Looks like the referee's given a free kick, or at least he's going to go check on Fafa. Well, Steve, we thought it might work to the same tune it did in Atlanta, the change to bring the width on, although it's looked different today, moving to the 3 at the back.
Yeah, but you're right, though. The effect is the same because you get players out wide. It was just way too congested in the middle. And now as they've been able to spread the Miami defense, and, by the way, as these Miami players are getting a little bit more tired. Look, there's no pressure at all on Pedrinho. There's nobody within 10 yards of him as he hits that ball. And you know what? It's Noah Allen on the front side that keeps him on. I think he was actually behind his last defender, but Noah Allen was behind the line on his side, on the near side. That's why Anderson Julio was so far behind the back line.
First assist in MLS for Pedrinho, who got his first goal against Colorado earlier in the season. It felt like Julio was due, even though maybe the form had dipped in recent weeks since his return after he missed time in Ecuador, picking up his green card.
Yeah, he's got 2 goals and an assist on the year now.
Kremoski in the center circle, switches it out to the far side for Frey.
Julio really should have had one more assist, but it took a little deflection. I think that was that against RSL?
I think it was also against Colorado. Same game. To Pedrinho, the goal we're talking about. And Dallas with 3 goals now, without Acosta or Farrington on the score sheet, who you probably would have picked as the most likely coming into the night. Do they still have something to say?
Dallas has gotten it done 0-0 a week ago and can they get it done with 3 goals this time.
Here's Yannick Bright breaking forward into the 18. Cut back cross looking for Abondo. Sliding clearance from Urgidd. Acosta, another heavy touch, just turns it over to Miami as he tried to bring the ball out of the sky. Redondo out to the far side for Frey. Redondo, a famous name. His father, a legendary player for Argentina and Real Madrid. We've got 2 number 55s on the field right now. I don't know how often that happens as Miami builds up on the far side with Kramaski. Ball into the path of Fafa Picault, but Ramiro with some great work there just to get his body in the way and help it back to Martin Paz.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked that out. I was just about to say, Ramiro, I think he's having another really good match.
The danger right now for Miami when it does arrive is coming through Kramaski, popping out to the far side.
So now, Ryan, you see the next iteration of this game, though. Miami now, they won all 3 points. Now they're pushing their lines up, and Dallas has to respond to that. Miami really didn't respond very well to Dallas's tactical change. So now Miami, they brought in a couple of subs. They got some fresh legs. They're pushing the lines up. Let's see if Dallas can keep control here.
Doesn't look like a shape change for Miami in response. Just a couple of fresh legs.
And the thing is, if Dallas decides that 1 point is enough against the best team in Major League Soccer, the 3-5-2 that they're playing right now can easily turn into a 5-3-2. They might have to make maybe one defensive change in there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to point out that Julio made that run from a little bit deeper, playing as a wingback. Here's a foot race, though, between Picault and Abubakar. Abubakar, important sliding tackle there to put it out for a throw.
Got to say, Fafa Picault, who really has become a super sub for them, and it's a pretty interesting role for him, pretty effective in that role. You got to say he's put in the work today.
And he may be amongst the candidates to be replaced as they do go to the bench here. You see Allende coming on for Alan Abondo. Got his first MLS goal today. And Segovia in for Yannick Bright. So those are 2 of the first team regulars for Mascherano.
Segovia is a good young player. A little surprised not to see him start today.
He's got 3 goals on the season in MLS play. Allende with 2 on loan from Celta Vigo. He's got a lot of pace to test the Dallas back line. Maybe taking throw in too quickly for the referee's liking. As we play in the 75th minute, it is 3-3. A game that's had a little bit of everything. Dallas finding some life of late here in the second half. Farrington on the dribble ahead. Runs into Tomas Aviles, who I think is back at center back now with the changes. And Redondo in at holding midfield. Now Lujan bringing it up out of the back for Miami. Checks back instead for Redondo. Segovia. Into the feet of Kramaski. Segovia continued the run. They do now try and find him, but Ramiro eventually locked on to the Venezuelan. Dallas putting the pressure a little bit higher up the field. Ramiro got a foot on the ball there against Segovia, but he's whistled for a foul. Right under the nose of the referee.
You'd like to see Ramiro be careful here. You don't want him drawing that yellow card. He's become a pretty important cog in there for Dallas.
Aviles looking to go over the top. It's Julio defending as the wingback, and he wins the header. Breaks for Urgidd. His ball forward to Ramiro. Tried to play first time and turned it over. Now here through the lines, Allende. Allende chipped ahead. Urgidd volleys clear. And Acosta going to try and hold the defender off. Appeal to the referee. Nothing given there against Aviles. Kramaski there, just bodied off it by Urgidd. Breaks for Pedrinho, who'll drop it off for Ibiaga. Ibiaga returns it to Pedrinho through the lines, but that one was at shin height, difficult to deal with.
was not a good outlet ball from Ibiaga. Pedrinho doing what he could with it.
Ball down the line, up the near side for Pico. Matched up with Abubakar. Two MLS veterans with new teams this year. Farrington gets a foot to the ball there, but still breaks for Redondo, who puts the ball over the top. And difficult to see as it's gone from shade to sun. Appeals for a penalty waved away. Clearing ball just presents possession back to Inter Miami, who since the third Dallas goal have restored some order with their substitutions. And back to controlling the ball.
Yeah, getting a couple of players in more familiar positions.
Allende there, just a tug of the jersey against Urgidd. I think the flag was up anyway.
Yeah, getting players for Miami in more familiar positions, getting more fresh legs on there, and Miami has regained control. What's Dallas's counter move now?
Get a look at the appeals for a penalty. Don't really think there's much in that between Urgidd and Allende. Allende, who's sort of taken up the role of Robert Taylor that he played so well for the first year of the Messi experience. Pedrinho bringing it up the far side. It's tripped up, but we play on as it breaks for Julio. Now Lucho Acosta trying to work his way past Redondo and squeeze between Redondo and Kramaski, and he wins a free kick, trying to go quickly into the feet of Kaique, who's then fouled by Segovia, and we still haven't seen the yellow card in this game. But they at least went a couple yards further forward on the free kick there. I don't know.
So this free kick is getting close to shooting range now. Not sure which player in the Dallas shirt has that kind of range, but it's at about 32 yards maybe.
And we saw Pedrinho and Farrington both score free kicks for North Texas last year in their championship run. But it's a little awkward in terms of it's so central, it's going to be tough to serve it to a teammate. But it's just outside of range of what you'd think would be a shot. Here's a chipped ball from Lucho, looking for Ibiaga. Header won there by Martinez. Ramiro goes in, thought he won a foul, but last touch is out off of Dallas for a throw. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go in Fort Lauderdale. Dallas fighting back to now equalize and sit at 3-3. Miami looking for a potential dagger blow, but Julio with some great defending, and now space for Julio to go the other way up the far side. Faces up Redondo, now finds Lucho Acosta. All kinds of time and space. Back to Anderson Julio, in along the left side. Heavy first touch, and Drake Callender gets there, and then Kaique onto the loose ball. I think sort of dove there looking for a penalty, nothing given.
Well, that was wild because there's a really good entry ball from Lucho Acosta into Anderson Julio. Julio, you thought he was in, but takes a heavy touch and looked like it was going to be an easy scoop up for Drake Callender, and all of a sudden the ball is loose. And
all of a sudden the game is stretched. Dallas now back on it. Here's Pedrinho centrally. Options either side. Ball into the path of Farrington. Farrington along the left side. Cut back cross towards Pedrinho. Oh, he slots it home. It's 4-3. Dallas have fought all the way back now to lead. What a resurgence from the red and blue.
Well, I don't know whether it's more chaos or more mayhem, but either way, Dallas made it pay off. Just a bunch of craziness.
Yeah, it went end to end, right? It went all the way back towards the Miami counterattack, and then Dallas brought it forward.
It did, and in the end, there's Pedrinho, who you called it. You noticed it first. He really helped Dallas change this game with a big assist, a big goal now that might just turn out to be the game winner. We'll see.
Taking a look through the replay here, it's Acosta into the feet of Pedrinho, who slips it into the path of Farrington. Farrington able to hold off Aviles and get the left-footed ball back across, and Pedrinho rolls it into the net. Nice finish from him. A goal and an assist off the bench. What an impact from the young Brazilian.
And the thing is, you thought the moment had sort of gone there when Logan Farrington got slipped through, but he couldn't get the shot off, and you thought, well, that's it. But you know, he does what he does, which is just keep the play going through sheer effort. He's able to stick his right foot out there and just poke it back across goal, and arriving just in time there is Pedrinho.
Pedrinho's first appearance in an FC Dallas uniform was at the Cotton Bowl against Inter Miami in the preseason friendly over a year ago. He became an ex-pro champion, the talisman of that North Texas SC team, and now making a real impact on the first team. A goal and an assist in this fight back for FC Dallas to lead 4-3.
And Lucas Spala has decided to show his first yellow card. I'm not quite sure, I didn't pick up what it was.
That's Lucho Acosta in the book, and now Miami are looking for a response. Ramiro is going to concede a corner a little bit needlessly there. And Miami in a hurry. They're going to try and go short. Dallas get bodies out there to try and defend it. Everyone looking into the sun, the final specks of sunlight in the sunshine state, as I get myself all twisted up, and Martinez puts a header off target. Well, we were sitting here at halftime, Steve, not too confident that we were going to see anything of this accord from FC Dallas, but the changes, the impact subs off the bench, all of it has equated to now a lead at Chase Stadium.
We saw it just like in Atlanta, you know, a really good tactical choice. You know, you can probably nitpick a little bit with Eric Quill right now because sometimes the team rolls out, we don't see the form, we don't see the patterns, but the tactical choices, tactical changes that is, you know, have worked a couple of times now, so you got to give them credit for that.
Still a lot of quality out there for Miami, for Dallas to try and see this one out. Kayike can't find a teammate. Julio putting pressure on Ian Frey. Dallas still stepping up high on the press, the home side. Redondo's got some space in midfield, rolls it out to Picot on the near side. Picot, low ball in, cleared away by Abubakar. Breaks for Ian Frey. Frey out to Kremaski, two of the Miami homegrowns, but Julio has been really solid defensively, although you don't think of that as his game. Wins the ball back and then helps it down the field for Dallas. Farrington into Pedrinho, can't find Acosta. And Dallas have to find a way to get some sustained possession, otherwise they're going to be under the cosh here for 5+ minutes. Picot on the near side, matched up with Shaq Moore. Left-footed ball swung towards the back post. Header won by Urgidd. Breaks at the top of the box for Aviles. Wide with Frey. Tried to go past Julio. No way past him. Eventually Pedrinho hooks it away.
And now what you wonder is, what I said a while ago, can Eric Quill take this 3-5-2, make it a 5-3-2, get maybe one more good defensive change in there?
The defensive depth pretty much evaporated with the recent injuries to Enzo Newman and Marco Farfan, of course. Oh, Farrington there putting pressure against Luan. Nearly broke for him into the Miami half, but it bounces back towards the home side. Lifted over the top, looking for Allende, who wins the first header, knocking it down towards Segovia, but Urgidd gets a foot to it. Can't find a teammate, though. Dallas struggling for possession since finding that fourth goal. Noah Allen towards the back post, but it's covered up by Martin Paas, whose name we haven't had to call too much tonight, despite the 3 goals for the home side.
They do have one other player on the bench that I wouldn't mind seeing come in right now. That's Diego Garcia. He can give you a lot of effort, if nothing else, and he's got Farrington and Acosta that have got to be getting tired in there. Anderson Julio as well.
I mentioned that preseason game in the Cotton Bowl. Garcia played in that one as well as a 17-year-old at the time. Played against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. Messi not involved today for Dallas, or for Miami against Dallas. They try and step the pressure higher up the field. It breaks kindly for Lucho Acosta. Farrington goes on the run out the outside. Low ball in towards Pedrinho. Pedrinho trying to return it to Acosta. Dallas made a little bit of a mess of it, and they've got to track back now. Kayike at full sprint to get back, and then Julio is well positioned. And now maybe a 5th in this for Dallas. Lucho Acosta, shot from distance, comfortable for Drake Callender.
Anderson Julio really upset over there on the left side that he didn't get played through by Lucho Acosta that time. Ramiro, by the way, a minute ago making a big run forward, and you know, I love the man's heart, but that's not where I want to see him right now. They've got a lead. They don't need their holding midfielder making that run.
Farrington tracking back to left wing back at the moment as Miami spot that Julio's still high up the field. Kromoski receives it on the right wing from Miami, sends the ball in over everybody's head. And Shaq Moore is going to watch this one out for a throw on the near side.
I mean, you hope Eric Quill is over there screaming at his team right now. You don't need another goal. Lock it down.
And as we get a look at Eric Quill, I think he's doing just that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing.
We also see a couple of changes for Dallas on the way. Tyreek Scott will replace Logan Farrington for his first action in MLS this season. Tiki Nsablang is up as well.
Yeah, they'll get that in on the last change window they have available, and just to eat up just a few more seconds.
Tyreek Scott, who celebrated his birthday with a goal for North Texas last week, recently turned 20.
It's been scrappy out there for Dallas. There have been a lot of sloppy moments, but a lot of good moments too, though.
Possession with Miami as we're just over 88 minutes into this afternoon matinee in Miami.
Dallas looking to match that team record for an unbeaten start on the road.
Looking strong position for that at the moment. Segovia works his way through two Dallas defenders. Now finds Kromoski top of the box. Tyreek Scott back defending. Kromoski somehow gets through Kaique and through Urgidd as well. Sliding tackle there from Kromoski, but Ibeagha got there first. And he concedes a corner. I think it should be a free kick for Dallas as Kromoski just clattered Ibeagha. But the veteran defender will have to pick himself back up and defend here in the 89th minute. Segovia readies the corner kick from the far side. Plenty of air underneath this one all the way through towards the back post. Redondo will retrieve it. And the danger gone for the moment. Shaq Moore comes out to meet Redondo, who's going to bend the ball in from the near side. Header won by Abubakar. That's what he does best. And now Acosta onto it in midfield. That's the ball out wide right for Pedrinho. Lifted ahead towards Acosta. Nice 1-2 connection between those two. And now back to Pedrinho centrally. Tyreek Scott in all kinds of space on the far side. It's Pedrinho back heel towards Tyreek Scott, then chips it up in the air. Saved by Callender. As Pedrinho had so much more space, I think, than he realized or knew what to do with.
He had Tyreek Scott available. Probably should have gone over there.
And a chance for the dagger goes begging there as we're just about to find out how much stoppage time we'll play. Sliding tackle in midfield from Pedrinho. Header won by Urgidd.
Pedrinho absolutely man of the match here for me. Urgidd playing well is also playing well, but Pedrinho really changed this game.
Will it be to the tune of 3 points for FC Dallas on the road? 6 minutes to negotiate, to nurse this lead to the final whistle. Ian Frey matched up with Anderson Julio on the far side. Frey drop of the shoulder. Julio sliding tackle. Last touch off of the Dallas makeshift defender and behind for a corner.
Fellas, what am I missing? 6 minutes?
Seems like a lot.
There wasn't a VAR review. Had some goals, I guess.
We'll get a look at that chance that went begging for Dallas. Tyreek Scott and Pedrinho played plenty together for North Texas last year, but just couldn't connect in the final third for the first team there. And now Nsablang will replace Lucho Acosta in the 91st minute. Dallas with a pair of road wins this season. They opened the year with that victory in Houston. Snatched one at RSL. Looking for road win number 3 and to continue an unbeaten streak to 6 games to start the year away from Toyota Stadium. Kromoski, again, plenty of air underneath it, and Shaq Moore flicks it along. Away from the danger. Redondo to Noah Allen. Noah Allen bending the ball in all the way through. Breaks for Kromoski at the far side. Dallas just defending the box at the moment. Kromoski, ball in, flicked along by Lujan. And that's a big chance, really, for Lujan. Not sure how much he knew about it.
On the backside, as that ball came left to right, I think Siki and Nsablang got a chance to just go get the ball over there, and he's just too passive. They got to understand he's got 4 minutes and they can do something a little special here. Got to put in the effort.
Martin Pass going to get a talking to. He's got the fans on his back with the clock winding down. Messi and Suarez watching on from the seats. They thought their teammates might go and continue their unbeaten run in MLS play, but Dallas shocking the home crowd today with the second half fight back. .5 minutes played. Possession with Miami in their own half. Ian Frey, nowhere really to go. Drops it all the way back for Martinez.
Dallas trying to defend up high right now. I like that. Instead of just dropping all the way back. Got to be careful, though.
Miami playing through that first line of pressure. Now Redondo's trying to switch it out to the far side, but Julio has been so alert defensively. So impressed by that for a forward player. And then his ball into Kaique is tripped up by his opposite number 55, Redondo. It'll be a Dallas free kick.
3 of the 6 have gone so far. 3 more minutes to defend this lead.
Dallas's last trip to enter Miami before the arrival of Messi, before all the fanfare that went with it, was 1-0. This one has been the exact opposite, 4-3. Much more akin to the 4-4 Leagues Cup mania that we saw at Toyota Stadium later that year.
I wouldn't say the quality of this one has been quite what we saw that day, but it's been exciting. It's been eventful.
And Dallas, again, in no rush to take it. Mascherano looks on begrudgingly. He's got a big task ahead of him on Wednesday as well. And Sabalang winning it high up the field for Dallas. He's got Frey on his back, trying to find his way out of a phone booth, so to speak. Eventually the whistle goes against Kaique.
Yeah, but another instance of Dallas defending up high, not just dropping in. I like that aggression from Eric Quill's side.
The one exception being their home game against Chicago, but when they've gotten the lead, they haven't lost. They've shown a good aptitude of seeing out games, and they've got 2 minutes left in this one. It's a foot race between Picot and Abubakar. Now Picot on it inside the 18. Left-footed ball in, brought down by Segovia. Segovia trying to get on the turn. Ramiro tracking back defensively. Now here's Aviles, shot from distance, blocked by a sliding Kaique. 90 seconds to play. And a free kick goes the way of Inter Miami as Ian Frey wins it. This one is in a shooting range. And Miami wish that Messi was in the 20 and they could bring him on just for this moment. It's going to have to be someone else in pink to step up.
Couldn't see who had the foul there, but it was from behind, and you just have to be a little bit more judicious with how you tackle and where you tackle from there.
Segovia won the foul. Looks like he's walking away from it. We saw Kramaski take it in the first half to no great effect. Martin Pass setting the wall. This may well be it. Dallas hoping to navigate this final foray forward from Inter Miami. And it's going to be Tadeo Allende facing a 4-man Dallas wall with a player laying underneath it as well.
It's a good range. About 4 yards outside the D, slightly right.
Tadeo Allende on the approach. Allende over the bar. It had the fans fooled at the other end, but Allende inches away from a potential equalizer. I'll tell you what, I wasn't sure at first. Maybe I was willing it to be over the bar because that had a nice whip on it.
Yeah, in the end, it missed maybe 8-10 inches over the top, but you're right. If it gets that a little bit further right, gives it a little bit more time to dip. It's probably got Martin Paz beat, but I think that's going to do it.
And that will do it. Dallas fights back from 3-1 down to win this one 4-3. They extend their unbeaten run on the road. Eric Quill finds the tactical tweaks necessary, and Pedrinho wins it off the bench. A lot to talk about in this one. Dallas in a game against not Messi and friends, but the rest of the Miami squad found the resolve and found the quality in the second half to win this one, Steve.
Well, it's still Messi's friends, and how about this? Dallas last year, 9 points on the road, the full season. This year, 12 points. We're not even out of April. You're right, a lot to talk about. Pedrinho, probably the man of the match for me. We'll talk about it afterwards.
It's a different FC Dallas team. It's a different fight this year, and they have shown that away from home. We will break it down on the post-game show. Thank you so much for joining us throughout the 90 minutes today. It's FC Dallas win this one, 4-3 on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After almost 100 chaotic minutes at Chase Field in South Florida, FC Dallas wins again, 4-3, toppling the previously unbeaten Inter Miami. It was a wild match with unexpected happenings and goals, and oh my, we will talk about it all here on what to be an exciting edition of the FC Dallas postgame show, which tonight is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a few moments by the voices of today's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But first, we've got to start with the highlights, and unlike most weeks, we've got quite a few this week, and they start in the 8th minute when Dallas was on the charge, and it was a new signing opening his account for the Toros.
Ball back in the midfield for Ramiro. Ramiro into the box for Farrington. Farrington some space to get the shot away, blocked by Falcone. Follow-up from Kaique, blocked as well. And now Shaq Moore. Oh, what a goal! What a finish for Shaq Moore, his first FC Dallas goal. And he gives the visitors the lead in Fort Lauderdale 8 minutes in.
First goal of the season for Shaq Moore. That made it 1-0 in the 8th minute, FC Dallas. But then in the 16th minute, it was Fafa Pico, the FC Dallas sniper. 5 goals in 5 games against Dallas. That made it 1-1 for Miami as he nets one against FC Dallas. And then 13 minutes later, 29th minute, Alan Obando, the young player for Miami, gets his first goal of the season. That made it 2-1 against the run play for FC Dallas, and 2-1 was the score at halftime. But things didn't get better for Dallas out of the half. 56th minute, David Martinez slots one past Martin Paz after he was able to make a save and rebound it back into the field of play. That made it 3-1 Inter Miami in the 56th minute. Eric Quill responds with 2 changes in the 58th minute. And then 7 minutes later, it's the all-world defender doing something on offense.
Urgidd has resumed pleasantries with Falcone. Acosta on the approach in towards Urgidd, who wins the header. Urgidd on the follow-up. Oh, it's his first FC Dallas goal. And he's going to let Falcone hear about it. Dallas back within 1 through Osazi Urgidd.
And almost after that, Maximiliano Falcone is subbed out, along with another change for Javier Mascherano in Miami. 3-2 the score at that point in the 65th minute. Dallas still trailing by 1, but it will only take 4 minutes for FC Dallas to level the score.
Pedrinho, ball in behind, looking for the run of Julio. Flag stays down for now. Julio in on goal against Callender. Julio slides it past the keeper. And Dallas level things at 3. The tactical changes once again from Eric Quill paying dividends, and Julio has his second of the season.
Anderson Julio playing at wingback at that point, assisted by Pedrinho, made it 3-3 in the 69th minute. And the teams were level after that with a couple more changes coming in the 75th minute for Miami. But in the 81st minute, it was Pedrinho again coming up with the big moment.
And all of a sudden the game is stretched. Dallas now back on it. Here's Pedrinho centrally. Options either side. Ball into the path of Farrington. Farrington along the left side. Cut back cross towards Pedrinho. Oh, he slots it home. It's 4-3. Dallas have fought all the way back now to lead. What a resurgence from the red and blue.
Pedrinho's second goal of the season, assisted by the big dog Logan Farrington, ends up being the game winner as Dallas sees out the victory in Miami, knocking off the previously unbeaten in MLS play Herons at their home stadium. Let's go ahead and bring you the stats of tonight's contest, and they are brought to you this afternoon by UMB Bank. Miami wins the possession battle 59-41, 13 shots for each side, but Dallas 9 shots on target, Miami only 6. You've got 8 corners for the home side Herons, 3 for the visiting Toros. You had 5 saves for Drake Callender, just 3 for Martin Paz. 13 fouls for Dallas, 11 fouls for the Herons, and yet only 1 yellow card handed out. This one went to FC Dallas, to Lucho Acosta in the 83rd minute. Well, after that flurry of highlights, let's bring in the voices of tonight's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, and we'll get to the big moment that changed everything in just a second. But Ryan, I'll start here with you. Of all the gutsy road performances for Dallas this year, and there were some flaws, we'll get to those, but when it comes to just coming back and getting the job done, hard to beat that one so far in 2025.
No, absolutely. I mean, first of all, you come into this game knowing there's going to be eyes on you, knowing that you're the only game at this hour on a Sunday when, people from across the nation might be tuning in. They always do when it's Miami. Then you find out there's no Messi, and there may be a little bit of a letdown there. So they're looking forward to playing against the greatest of all time. But they picked themselves up. They start strong, get the goal, and then things really went south, and I was really concerned, particularly at halftime. Eventually it was 3-1, and Dallas found the resolve. They found the changes that they needed. They got the impact from the substitutes. Eric Quill pushed all the right buttons in the second half. For as rough as it felt at halftime, as bleak as it felt, it feels great now that you just knocked off a team that was 19 games unbeaten going back to last July. I mean, that is incredible. This is obviously not the full-strength Inter Miami, and they'll be disappointed to lose that record due to potentially some schedule congestion issues and all of that. But from an FC Dallas perspective, what a great performance from Pedrinho, who's someone that is just proof of the pathway, who came through North Texas, led them to a championship last year, and to see him making an impact like this on the big stage, maybe the biggest stage in MLS, with everyone tuning in against Inter Miami, what a result. What a result.
Well, to be fair, I did say Vancouver did Dallas a big favor by really making that CONCACAF Champions League semifinal series a real dogfight. But I always say this as well, guys. You still got to go out and win it. You still got to do it. That's still a good team out there. Look, we heard over and over and over, and I believe it, by the way, that this Miami team might be the deepest in Major League Soccer history. There's still good players out there. And to be fair, Miami made it very hard. The first half was very scrappy. Dallas honestly didn't look very good in that 4-3-1-2 that they like to play. There wasn't a lot of connection up front after the first 10 minutes. Dallas looked out of sorts, but man, that change from that formation to the 3-5-2 and the introduction of guys like Pedrinho, and what you want guys to do off the bench is come in, make an impact. However that looks, make an impact. And Pedrinho, most of all, made that impact.
Well, let's talk about that, because that is the turning point of the match. Without question, you can argue the biggest moment of the match. It's the 58th minute. Just previously, Miami has scored another goal to make it 3-1. Dallas is clearly scrambling, so they make a pair of changes. Pedrinho comes in for Shokafu Mana, and Lalo Sabubakar comes in for Nolan Norris. They shift into a 3-5-2, and shortly after that, they get the second goal. Shortly after that, they get the third goal. Steve, I'll start here with you. What specifically changed? I mean, obviously I just read off the literal changes, but what changed about how they played that let them come back and win?
Mostly width, I think, because we saw it before when in Atlanta, when they needed a shape change, they went to the 4-2-3-1. They got guys out wide. With the shape that they started today, 4 in the back, 3 in the midfield, which sort of looked disheveled anyway, but then that little triangle up front of Anderson Julio, Logan Farrington, and Lucho Acosta, but they're all narrow. There's really no width over there. Nolan Norris, from his left back spot. He's got enough to deal with out there. He's not really getting forward. Shaq Moore wasn't really getting forward, so your outside backs aren't really getting width. So you go to that 3-5-2. Now what happens? Now you spread the field a little bit. Now you've offered, Pedrinho, I think, really did well. And maybe this is unfair. Show didn't have a very good game. But the shape change creates a little bit more room for Pedrinho to operate in there. And we saw it on his nice feed for the equalizer, where there's nobody within 10 to 12 yards of him. Miami's just letting him sit there, get his head up, pick out his nice little through ball over the top to Anderson Julio. But the point is, he made the pass. He found the spaces. So that the shape change plus Pedrinho being who he is, that was the big difference.
And Ryan, I think Steve has already assigned Pedrinho his man of the match, and I think it's fair. And, I think this is the Pedrinho experience. We've talked about this with players before. There are some games where Pedrinho just isn't going to be his best. But when you have games like today where he is really on fire, this is the kind of quality you can get from him, and it really paid for Dallas.
No, absolutely. I mean, we watched all last season as he had moments like this for North Texas all the way en route to winning the MLS Next Pro Championship with his audacious backheel flick in the championship game. We know he has a feel for the moment. We know he has a feel inside the box of when to arrive late, and that's what he showed on the winning goal. But ultimately, they just got another creative player on the field, and he showed well. But also, like Steve said, he got a lot of space, and I think having that secondary creator off of Lucho Acosta really opened things up for Dallas, because when it was only Lucho in there from a creativity standpoint, they're just going to collapse on him, and he rarely had space. He didn't have a great game. He couldn't find the passing lanes to Farrington, who was pretty quiet. He couldn't find the run in behind from Julio. But when there's somebody else in there that they have to worry about, or maybe they aren't even keyed in enough to worry about on the first goal when he serves it over the top to Julio, they don't even step to him. So when they realize, hey, we've got to deal with both of these guys, that immediately becomes a much more difficult equation for the Miami side, and Pedrinho took advantage of that space. Credit to Logan Farrington, who kept the ball alive. He could have easily just let it roll out and given up the fight in that moment and gone on to fight another day, but he chased it all the way to the end line, got the great cutback, and two players that were playing for North Texas SC in their championship game last year, connecting at Chase Stadium against Inter Miami. This is what the pathway is all about, and Eric Quill, as the former head coach of North Texas SC, is really taking that on and bringing some of these young players through it. It feels like a little bit of a throwback in that way, and it's great to see.
You talk about the young players. On the other end, there's Lucho Acosta. And how about this? Dallas scores 4 goals, beats the best team in Major League Soccer, at least the favorites for pretty much everything. Supporters Shield, MLS Cup, Leagues
Maybe not
Cup.
Champions Cup anymore, though.
Maybe not Champions. Yeah, you're right. But 4 goals against this team. Lucho Acosta doesn't get a goal or an assist. Now, he had the corner kick that turned into Urgidd, I believe. So he's got a paw prints on that one at least. But just sort of ironic that their best player, their best attacking player, doesn't get a goal or an assist on a day that they score 4 goals.
But you bring up an interesting point. I think actually both of you do here, because it's one of the things we talked about at halftime was like, how do you get Acosta going? And I think even, Steve, you said during the first half broadcast, maybe Lucho has to adjust his game because, just to play a little different style. Well, when they make that formation change, it seemed like they opened up a little bit more space for him to play a little bit more, and that opened up his abilities a little bit more. Obviously, no actual on the score sheet happenings, but he looked better post shape change. For Dallas.
I think if you track with me here, we think back to FC Cincinnati, Lucho Acosta, and who he liked to combine with, and that was frequently Luca Orellano. Before that, I'm forgetting the name of the other wingback that they had before that. That was incredible. Barrial.
Yep.
These players that he has a sort of connection with, they are on the same wavelength. No one's really emerged in terms of that for FC Dallas so far since Lucho made the move, besides maybe Pedro Musa, you'd say, but obviously Musa not involved today. When you bring in Pedrinho, and Eric Quill has brought this up at times as well with us, they think in a similar way. They're both number 10s. They're both creative players. And those flicks that were just frustrating and not coming off for Lucho in the first half, they were finding the feet of Pedrinho, and he was flicking it back to him. And these are two guys that think on the same wavelength. And so bringing someone in like that, and not to say that maybe Pedrinho can be at the level of an Orellano, although maybe he can with what he showed today, but just to somebody that's on the same wavelength as him in a creative fashion, and they can combine 1-2s up the field. That's Lucho's game, and I think it's going to be crucial, whether it's Pedrinho, Musa, or somebody else getting on the same page as the Dallas number 10. That's what's going to truly unlock him, because he's not Messi. Like, he's not going to take all the play through his side, beat man on the dribble, find the passes in behind. He can do all those things, but he needs space to do it, and he needs runs in behind, and he needs a connection with a teammate. We haven't seen it come good fully just yet, but I think there were positive signs and something to build on today in Miami.
I think the other thing, Ryan, that's gonna unlock him is when they settle on some patterns, when they settle on a formation, because now what we've seen them 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-1-2, 3-5-2. I don't know what I've missed in there, but
I think there was a 4-3-3 in there at some point.
I think I started there, but I'm not sure, honestly. So the point is that we've seen them play in different ways. There's been a lot of rotation in there. I think today, I'm pretty sure, was the 9th different lineup in 10 games, so not a lot of consistency there. They got games coming up, so they're not going to be able to a lot of games in May, not maybe develop that consistency, but if they could just sort of settle on the way they want to play, I think then he's going to be able to start figuring out, okay, who can I combine with? What are the spaces that we're pretty good combining in? Today, look, it's kind of a crazy match because there's a lot of sloppiness out there.
Kind of a crazy match?
Yeah, well, okay.
It was a crazy match.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. You're right. There was some sloppy play out there. That there was the whole thing just looked, just sort of discordant, disheveled, right? But you make the game with moments. You make the game with, because Anderson Julio makes a good run, because Pedrinho finds it, because Pedrinho arrives in time, because, as you said, Farrington doesn't give up on a ball, because Osazi Urgidd gets in there and he's scrapping it out with Falcone, and he ends up getting a goal off that. So they didn't win this one today with a style. They won it just with a lot of effort and desire.
Yeah, I think that moment will definitely live on from this game. And unfortunate that it wasn't maybe the equalizer or the winner because we didn't get to fully savor it, but Osazi Urgidd getting his first FC Dallas goal, and what an in-your-face fashion as well. We'd seen, even going back to the first half, he and Falcone sort of giving it back and forth and the referee having to intervene. And then right before the goal, I even mentioned it, they resumed that scrap. They're pushing each other back and forth. Urgidd gets enough space, gets the first head to it. Falcone makes the block, but Urgidd not giving up on it, able to volley it into the net. And, what a moment for him. And I love his reaction. He's just sort of pointed right at him and said, that one was on you. Like, that was your fault. I was your man. You let me score. And that was the momentum. That switched the momentum along with the tactical change and gave it Dallas the energy to fight all the way back to win this game.
I have breaking news, guys.
Okay.
MLS Communications tells us that after trailing 3-1 in the 65th minute, FC Dallas overcame a 2-goal second-half deficit to defeat Inter Miami. We know that. But we don't know. Marks the 5th time in club history and the first time since August of 2011. I was a young man back then. That they have overcome a 2-goal second-half deficit to win. So how about that? 5 times in club
almost
history.
A decade and a half. That's been the first case. And the cherry on top for the Osazi goal, who comes off immediately after? Maximiliano Falcone. You give up the goal.
And he probably went and sat down and he said, we'll be fine. They might tie it up. It's 3-2, and now he's going home. Now he's going home upset, and he's got Vancouver to worry about, and I don't wish that on my worst enemy.
You're right about that. He's a tough character. I mentioned last week that one of the things I'm enjoying seeing about Urgidd, of all the things, the guy's a star, but he's showing personality.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that last week against Minnesota, and I don't know how much more personality you want to see than that. Falcone is, he's personality over there on their side. He's getting under guys' skin. I really like that. I'm telling you, when we hear Talateren say best defender in Major League Soccer, and it's not even close, as he put on Twitter this week, it's getting harder and harder to argue that.
I do, we try to act as, or at least I do, try to act as the voice of the supporters here, because, we're ultimately doing this for them. And I can already hear, as we go in the lead-in to San Diego next week, after scoring 3 goals in the 3-5-2, well, we should go to that. So I'm going to go to you, Steve Davis. Should that be the thing, or is that a big-time overreaction?
It's not an overreaction. It's not a bad thought. The problem is that they don't have the roster for it. You can't really play 3 in the back when you have 3 center backs plus 1 youngster who, would barely know how to, walk on an MLS field. So I just don't think it's an option right now, especially with, we mentioned a while ago, there are 6 games coming up in May that could easily turn into 7. And you've got, 3 guys who are MLS quality center backs. You've got Nolan Norris who can play in there. And then 1 very young and green, guy that. So, in other words, if you start with 3 and then something happens, well, where are you then? And who are you going to rotate through those 6 games? So I just think that's sort of a non-starter.
Yeah, well, and I want to point out too that ultimately Dallas was trying to build with 3 from the opening kickoff today because they had Norris with Urgidd and Ibeagha, with Shaq Moore pushing a little bit higher up, and they wanted Show to create the width as sort of the number 8, the central midfielder popping wide. The only thing that changed with the formation swap is that now they have Anderson Julio, who is a true out-and-out wide player who's going to supply that width. So I think it's not a huge shift if they do want to make that change, but to Steve's point, they're going to have to find the personnel and maybe fit some square pegs in round holes. But if you think about Norris as an option along the back 3, they do have a little bit of depth, but then who's going to play left wing back? I think Marco Farfan is the obvious candidate. He's out for a few more weeks now. Leo Chu, I think, would be a strong candidate as well as a left-footed player, and now he's out for a while as well. But to be fair, and to his credit, Anderson Julio did a phenomenal job defensively when he made that switch. He was switched on, and that's something you worry about when you move an attacking player back a line. And we've seen that even last year with Bernard Kamungo, trying to learn on the fly, learn those defensive actions. Julio was right there. He was defense first, and yet he still found the ability to make runs in behind. He went 3 out of 3 on his tackles. He had 8 defensive actions in addition to making that run for the goal and scoring it, finishing well. So credit to him. I don't know if it's a long-term thing, but he did everything the team asked of him, playing at wing-back to end this game, and maybe it's something we'll see going forward as well.
Well, I want to say this about Anderson Julio as well. I keep hearing, and Eric Quill has said, he's really more of a striker than a winger. And, Eric Quill knows more about soccer than I do, and okay, fair enough, but I don't see it right now. Every time he plays wing, he looks more effective to me. And where was he today when he scored the big goal?
Left wing back.
He was playing left wing back. So tilting in from starting in wide positions, then coming inside, it just looks like that's his jam to me.
It certainly looks so. And another guy we've talked about some, and he got on the scoreboard early, and we were all kind of surprised. Shaq Moore had himself an interesting day. They've rescinded the own goal on him, so they've given it to Fafa Pico, which I think is fair based on the review. And, that's a guy that's been really solid all year, and he finally gets to chip in with his first FC Dallas goal on the offensive end. It won't be the goal we remember from this game probably, but it's another sign of an acquisition that I think has gotten really well for this front office.
Yeah, and then when they switched to the 3 at the back, he had a big opportunity, didn't he, to get his second goal, where Dallas had sort of used the width, spread it out across the 18-yard box, and the extra man was Shaq Moore. He got the shot away, got it on target, but finishing. Even though he finished with a plum in the first half and an excellent rocket into the side netting, it's not his bag. That's why he's a right back. But he does show the ability to get forward, and I think if they found a long-term solution with wingbacks, I think he fits the profile very well.
Hey, by the way, here's something else. Franco Panizo, who does a really good job of, and has for a long time, of covering MLS and Inter Miami now, he points out that pretty frustrated team out there because only 4 players, Falcon, Callender, Rocco Rios Novo, who didn't play today, and Ryan Saylor, who also didn't play today. They were the only 4 that walked over to do the traditional applause of the fan section over there. Everybody else just left the field. So clearly, Inter Miami a little frustrated today by being beaten from that little team from Texas. So I don't feel sorry for them.
Well, and that actually takes me to a place specifically for Dallas, because one of the things we want to do is, what does this game mean for Dallas? Obviously, in the short, immediate term, it's 3 points. It's a great comeback. It's a demonstration of a lot of will, all other things Quill wants his team to come through. But as we look kind of forward, what do we think this result actually means? Ryan, I'll start here with you.
Yeah, I think to me this indicates that the team is not going to say die at any point. Down 3-1 on the road, and even the frustration of playing a rotated Miami lineup, that could be even more deflating, that you're down 3-1 and they still find the resolve to fight back. In addition to that, I think this team has so much more individual quality than last year's roster. Just, front to back. You've got Osazi obviously at the back, but in midfield, I'm really starting to, feel confident with Kaique in there, and he's just scrappy. He's all over the field. He's getting cleaner in possession. And then the front line, obviously Lucho Acosta has a ton of individual quality. Julio's doing a great job running in behind, something that Dallas just lacked massively last year as well. Obviously Pedrinho not even involved today, and he's arguably the best player on this Dallas roster. So I think from front to back, there's so much more individual quality, and as the tactical, sort of identity of this team starts to coalesce over the next 6 months, because sometimes it can take that long, to build this identity from scratch with a whole new roster and a new head coach. I think it's going to have a really high ceiling because of the individual quality and because of the fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you went and described it very well, what that does for the team in the big picture in terms of mentality and in terms of the psychology, I'll just give you a little bit more functional view of what it means. Right now, even though I'm the one that says don't look at MLS standings till about June, it's kind of nice to look at Dallas and see, 6th place, out of 15 teams. Not bad at all.
Especially when you started the day in 10th.
That's
that's how quick things can change. But,
yeah. So the other thing it means is that this is a tough 3-game road stretch that they're on. Made it a little bit easier today because Miami was heavily rotated. Maybe made a little bit easier next week because San Diego, I think the shine is off of them a little bit. But still, it's 3 consecutive games, and we said all along, I said anyway, can they dig up 4 points out of this thing? Can they find 4 points out of those 3? Well, you know what? Hey, maybe they can find 7 because now, after 2, they found the 4 points, and it's reflected in the standings there where they, as you said, Ryan, they move up from 10 to 6. Again, it's too early to look at standings, but for a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, it goes into the I'll now circle back to what you said, it just goes into the overall belief. Now the team looks up and says, hey, we're playing San Diego next week. Everybody was talking about San Diego. Well, guess who's ahead of San Diego now in the standings?
FC Dallas. And Sam, you were doing some research both before and during the game. But this is actually a chance now going on the road to San Diego for Dallas to make some team history as well. Why don't you elaborate on that? Because I'm a little confused by your stat.
Yeah, so this part of that, largely that is me because I can't count. So coming into today, Dallas was undefeated in their first 5 road matches. They'd won a couple. They've drawn a couple. With today's win, they are now undefeated in their first 6 road matches of the season. It's the first time that's ever happened since 1999. As Steve mentioned, that was the Jason Christ MVP season. Our good friend Mark Dodd was on that team as well. So this means that Dallas, if they go to San Diego next week and pull a draw or a win, it will be the best road start to a season ever in franchise history.
And it feels that way, right? It feels like
really
now
does.
Every week you turn up and you've got a chance, and it's just such a stark contrast from last week. And for one, I'm just so glad that, every other week I don't have to dread the weekend, because that's what it got to the point of when you went on the road and maybe you squeak out a draw, a 0-0 or a 1-1, but you didn't really go there to fight. And that's the one thing that Eric Quill has said from the first time that he stepped foot in the press room, announced as head coach, is we're going to go and we're going to fight to win every single game, and he's reiterated it every stop along the way. We're not there just to exist. We're there to go win the game, and his team has really embodied that over recent weeks.
I'll tell you the other thing that's pretty impressive about this, guys, is that, or impressive in kind of a weird way, the way I'm about to describe it, is that Dallas is winning games and getting results in different ways because the back line didn't have a great game. The first half was a little bit of a disaster back there, and it almost turned worse when Urgidd, kind of slid into Fafa Pico, but without a good performance on the back line, you know what happens? On the other end, they get 4 goals. So, when you can win games in different ways.
And 2 of your defenders score.
That's right. So when you can do that and not depend on one pattern to win all your matches or to get all your results, that's saying something.
Yeah, this one felt a lot more like the Colorado 3-3 than it did the 0-0, in Minnesota.
Well, before we turn off the open sign here on this, maybe the best win of the season so far, do we have any closing thoughts on FC Dallas 4, the Messi-less into Miami 3?
Steve, I'm looking at you.
And I'm looking at my notes, and I think, look, just good individual moments, really good tactical change from Eric Quill. I think when we look back on this one, with the asterisk that it was Miami without Messi and Suarez and Busquets and Alba, but I think those are the elements that I'm going to remember about this one.
Now, I think we should just at least match up with Inter Miami once a year because it seems like crazy things happen, and that's good for the league. So maybe the scrappy little team from Dallas deserves a little more time in the spotlight, and they've shown well today. I don't know if as many people watched without the number 10 in pink playing on the Miami side, but the likes of Osazi or Urgidd were asking for him to get the recognition that he deserves, and he gets the goal today, even in a difficult defensive performance. And I just think there's a lot to like and a lot to talk about, and we'll continue the conversation on Wednesday, Sam.
Yeah, we sure will, because if you think we're done with this one, we're not just yet. Check out the FC Dallas agenda on Wednesday. I don't know exactly who's going to be the guest because there's a lot of fun options for this one. But there will be someone.
We'll find somebody good.
Yeah, it'll be worth tuning in for sure.
I would imagine so, and then we'll break down that. And then we'll look ahead to what's coming, which is the final of this 3-game road trip for Dallas. And they're headed back out west. Instead of East Coast, it's West Coast. It's the first trip to San Diego. And, boy, San Diego's going to be coming into that one in not great form. They lose 3-1 yesterday to shorthanded Real Salt Lake, including what lit up the group chat yesterday, old friend Sam Junka with a banger goal.
It wasn't a scrappy goal. That was like you said, it was a banger.
It was a wonder goal.
Clocked it.
One of the best of the week from our old friend Sam Junka, who we root for all but 2 matches of the year, and one of those has already gone by. One of those is coming up on the 10th when the Claret and Colwell come to Toyota Stadium on the 10th. But we'll preview that game on the agenda. And then next Saturday, we're back to Saturday this week. It's an 8:15 kick from Snapdragon Stadium as the weird kick times continue. So FC Dallas, we will start the pregame show on the FC Dallas Radio Network at 7:45 before kickoff at Snapdragon Stadium. But that's going to do it for tonight's postgame show. FC Dallas wins 4-3 over Inter Miami. For our engineer, Michael Clark, for Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas. Come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.